the magician in the world of Doraemon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 476 Performance. Yu and Dazhi flew to their side. Hey, we meet again so soon. You two have stopped quarreling? Facing his question, Nobita and Doraemon looked at him with some caution and moved aside. They finished quarreling this afternoon, and after calming down, they found that Yu and Dazhi was a problem. When they quarreled, they talked about the magic world and the original world more than once, but he didn't seem surprised at all. Moreover, his cloak seemed to have appeared in the real world a long time ago, even before they encountered the adventure of the sun god. In addition, Miyako also said that Yu and Dazhi's magic was something they had never seen before. From this point of view, he himself was a collection of problems. Doraemon's props had failed to work on him many times before, and some of their memories of Yu and Dazhi were vague, which were all doubts. In summary, they all agreed that Yu and Dazhi was very dangerous, and it was best to keep a certain distance from him for the time being. Seeing how unfamiliar they were, Yu and Dazhi was a little puzzled. What was wrong with him? I was the one who helped you find the phone booth this afternoon. Although I destroyed it. Didn't they find anything? So the two groups flew in the air with different thoughts and gradually arrived at their destination. Why? How could this happen? Nobita and the others looked at the land in the air, somewhat unbelievable. The magnificent church that was still there this afternoon has now completely disappeared, leaving only a piece of dirty land, emitting black fog and high temperature. After hesitating for a while, Doraemon spoke first. Let's go and take a look. Maybe there are clues. The three of them slowly landed on the ground. The land still had the fluctuation of magic power and a faint smell of burning. After carefully feeling it, Yu and Dazhi confirmed in his heart that this was indeed the energy that polluted the land this afternoon. It seems that Medusa has already taken action. So where is Miyako? She should still be here now. Pastor Manu has been sent away, but he must protect the girl Miyako. She is the key for these people to go to the demon world star. If Yu and Dazhi were to send them there, he would be exhausted. Even if he succeeded in delivering the package, he probably wouldn't have much magic power left, and he would still be dead. Just when Yu and Dazhi was about to use his induction technique to find someone, Doraemon suddenly screamed, "Ah, there's a rat here." Hearing this, he immediately relaxed. It seemed that the person he was looking for had already shown up, saving a lot of trouble. After Doraemon escaped from that area, Yu and Dazhi immediately walked over to take over and quietly put the rat into his pocket. Miyako didn't resist either, because she still hadn't figured out why she became a rat. Seeing that these people seemed to be naive, Medusa had a bad idea and planned to use them once. With a casual move, a 3-star demon general behind her came up. "Lord Medusa, do you have any instructions? Go and attack them, but don't really kill them. They are still very useful now. Don't let them get hurt before you use them up." After receiving the order from his superior, the demon general came to them on a flying dragon without any hesitation. Ah, why is there a dragon here? Doraemon was still the one with the worst luck. First, the mice were scared and ran around, and then they happened to run into the flying dragon knight who rushed over. It was the worst possible situation. "You tiny and fragile humans, die for me." The demon general raised his hands, and a purple lightning fell, blowing a hole in the land next to the blue fat man. Yu and Dazhi couldn't help shaking his head. Although this attack looked dangerous, there was no killing intention at all. So he had to go and see the self-cultivation of the actors after he went back, otherwise he would not be qualified to be on this show. Medusa was very satisfied with his performance. At the same time, her body gradually changed, and a brand new Miyako appeared in the depths of the jungle. Not bad. If it becomes like this, even that little guy can't tell it apart, right? She looked at her new body with satisfaction, but for some reason, she always felt a familiar feeling. At this time, Doraemon had dodged several lightning and dragon breaths in a row and was exhausted. Yu and Dazhi next to him had no intention of intervening at all, which made Medusa a little confused. But now her plan is going smoothly, which is enough for her. As for the child, she doesn't need to care. The scope of use does not include Yu and Azuki, because his strength is too strong, and is an uncontrollable factor. Just when Doraemon was about to be burned by the dragon's breath, an icicle shot up from the ground, and blocked the fatal dragon's breath. Yu and Azuki slowly put away the magic in his hand. It seems that someone is more impatient than him. Then he looked in the direction of the magic fluctuations, and saw Miyako in a pink dress standing outside the earth pit, letting the evening breeze blow her short hair, which made her look like a woman who is not inferior to men. The demon general immediately focused his attention on her. Miyako, you are not dead yet? Then go to hell now. The dragon's breath attacked again, and before it came into direct contact, the scorching temperature had already ignited the nearby trees. Miyako stretched out her hand to touch the ground, and an icicle shot up again to block the attack. With the cover of the icicle, Miyako drew a cross in the air with her index finger, which turned into a green stone blade. Looking at the sword, Yu and Azuki became interested. This thing is actually a magic weapon. It's a pity that the rank is not very high, and there are no gems on it. If this thing is good enough, Yu and Azuki actually planned to take it from her, but now it seems unnecessary. Nobita ran to Doraemon's side, picked him up, and took him away from this horrible battlefield. Miyako held the cursed blade, and continued to split the lightning and dragon breath from the air, quickly approaching the demon general on the back of the dragon. When she split the last lightning, she finally stood on the back of the dragon, face to face with the demon general. Humph, now that I, a fragile human, am standing in front of you, are you ready to die again? This scene made Nobita and Doraemon below excited. Miyako is really amazing. Even if she was facing a real demon, she didn't retreat at all. Who knew that the demon general pointed at Miyako's feet and said, "You are too naive. It is very dangerous to rush into someone else's lair." As soon as the voice fell, a magic circle appeared under Miyako's feet, and chains rushed out of the circle, tying her up tightly in the magic circle. What's going on? Everyone below was shocked. Isn't this plot twist too fast? Yu and Azuki cleared his throat. Trap magic, one of the commonly used types of magic, can have miraculous effects if used well. Yu and Azuki, it's already this time, and you still have the heart to laugh. Why don't you go and help Miyako? The two of them were as anxious as ants on a hot pot, but the others on the field were not worried about this at all. The magic fluctuations on Miyako's body were several times that of the demon general. Even if she was hit by a trap magic, how could she be killed by the demon general alone? It's impossible to think about it. But it has come to this point. He should also show some expression, otherwise both the positive and negative sides will exclude him. He also thought that this play was too unappetizing. Can you at least conceal your aura when acting? It can only fool these two amateurs. Humph, Miyako, you'd better die now. I'll kill you later. Before he finished speaking, a blue stream of light flashed across his chest, bringing a piece of ice blue. There was a blue aura on Yu and Azuki's hand. This was the third level magic he cast, Withering Ice Spear. Chapter 477 Processing. The ice spear pierced from bottom to top, piercing through the defenseless dragon and demon general, and then the ice began to spread at the wound. Not long after, they were completely turned into ice cubes under the effect of magic, losing all vitality. A breeze blew, and their bodies were like withered petals, floating in the air. Miyako, who was transformed by Medusa, couldn't help but take a small step back. She was also good at ice magic, but she had never heard of this trick. Without giving her too much time to hesitate, the three people immediately surrounded her and asked with concern, "Miyako, you are not injured now, right?" Looking at the three chess pieces, she put away her shock, smiled and shook her head. "Don't worry, he acted in time, and the demon general didn't have time to hurt me just now." "Then what about the church here? Where is Pastor Manu?" Doraemon pointed to this piece of land. They had too many doubts. Miyako shook her head helplessly. "My father and this church were taken to the demon world by the demons. These demons also came from that time." The two of them looked at the earth pit. How powerful were those demons to be able to raise this piece of earth to the ground? Then, Medusa reached into her clothes and took out a parchment that everyone was familiar with. The only good news is that this ancient document that records the history of the demon world is fine. We still have a chance. The ancient document is fine. That's great. Seeing that there was still hope for a comeback, Nobita and Doraemon instantly became happy. Yes, the ancient document is still in my hands, so the demons will keep chasing me until they take the document away. Miyako stuffed the document back into her clothes. The next thing to do is to find the demon world history. Nobita and the others nodded. Of course, wouldn't we be able to defeat the Demon King in this way? Miyako also agreed. That's right. So after finding the demon world history, we will sneak into the demon world planet and have a decisive battle with the Demon King. Wait, what did you say? Hearing such a crazy idea, they were immediately scared. Sneak into the demon world planet? Isn't it too dangerous to do this? This time even Doraemon admitted his fear. That's right, we don't know anything at all. How about we call the police first? And Yu and Dazzy didn't say anything at all. He was definitely going to go, but why did he tell her? Although he didn't say anything, everyone present automatically assumed that Yu and Dazzy had the same attitude as the two of them. This is no wonder. It is human nature to seek benefits and avoid harm, and it is basically unavoidable. Miyako did not persuade them, but seemed to accept her fate. I know, I will not implicate you innocent people anymore. But I have to go. After that, Miyako whistled, and a brand new magic carpet flew over from the side. She stood on it without hesitation. Goodbye Nobita. I hope we can meet again one day. Nobita and Doraemon stood on the ground and looked at her back. They wanted to say something, but they were too embarrassed to speak. After Miyako left, Yu and Dazzy said that this trick of playing hard to get was really powerful. Knowing that they would not agree easily, he planned to use emotions such as guilt to pressure them and let them make their own decisions. This is not only more effective than direct coercion, but also more credible. People are always willing to believe in the decisions they make because they think it is their own will and they are being used by others without knowing it. If Yu and Dazzy had not known that she was fake, he might have been taken away by the plot designed by this guy. He quietly touched his pocket and found that Miyako had fallen asleep. His mission on this trip was also completed. Okay, I'm leaving now. Things here are over. Aren't you going to leave? Yu and Dazzy walked up to them, asked symbolically, and then flew away on his own. The two hesitated for a while below, put on bamboo dragonflies, and flew away from this withered land. Not long after they left, Miyako appeared here again, followed by a large group of demons. Medusa looked at a demon and asked, "How is it? Have you finished the interpretation?" The demon lowered his head and handed over the scroll respectfully. "Yes, Lord Medusa. The journey of the demon world is in the cave of Mount Everest in the Celestial Empire." "Very good. You did a good job. These stupid humans can't even interpret ancient characters." Medusa reached out to take the scroll, then wrapped it up, preparing to use it as bait tomorrow. "Listen, everyone. Now the first step of the plan has been successful, but we are far from being lax." She looked at the demons around her and continued, "It is recorded in the literature that a magic circle has been set up near the demon world, and we demons cannot enter. So those humans are the best tools. They are simple-minded and weak. There is no better candidate than them. Now listen to me. Everyone will go to Mount Everest immediately. Whether we can complete this mission depends on this time." After Yu and Dazzy returned home, he said hello to King Yu and flew into the sky, ready to continue to comprehend the laws. The old man stayed and began to teach him some simple spells and sorcery to enhance his self-defense ability. After finding a suitable cloud to sit on, Yu and Dazzy took Miyako out and placed her under the moonlight. When the moonlight shone on her, the mouse turned into a ball of light and gradually changed into the shape of a human. "You have seen through their disguise. Why don't you stop those demons from snatching the demon world course?" After Miyako regained her human form, her first reaction was to question the boy sitting on the cloud. His behavior during this period was too suspicious. "Don't worry, there must be a magic circle left by the predecessors near the demon world course, and the demons cannot enter." Yu and Dazzy didn't take her matter to heart, "And I have my own plan for this matter. Just wait and see." "I don't believe you." Miyako turned around and planned to leave. "You make people feel very dangerous. I'd better go find Nobita and the others." Seeing her firm attitude, Yu and Daisy waved his hand, indicating that she was free to do whatever she wanted. Anyway, Yu and Daisy didn't intend to stop her from leaving. The main reason for taking her away before was to worry about being discovered by Medusa. Since her life is not in danger for the time being, there is no need for Yu and Daisy to keep her. Anyway, she has no place to play a role now, so it is better to let her run outside and find something to do for herself. However, although he didn't stop him from leaving, he couldn't just leave it alone. When she was about to leave, Yu and Daisy quietly left a tracking mark on her. If Miyako was in danger outside alone, this mark would give him a warning, so that he could arrive in time. In addition, he had to study moonlight magic tonight, so that he could remove the demon magic on Miyako when they met next time. Although this curse was not very profound, it seemed to have some high-level energy in it, and he could not directly expel it. Miyako looked at Yu and Daisy at the edge of the cloud, and then resolutely jumped down from here. After sending Miyako away, Yu and Daisy took out another thing, a little demon, that was frozen in ice. Old man, do you have any method to enslave others? I need it now. The soul-devouring monument in the Sea of Consciousness was silent for a while, and then threw him a spell, and asked him to study it himself. Yu and Daisy began to try to understand. Soul enslavement method. Use conditions. First, the other party has no ability to resist. He glanced at the demon that was still frozen on the ground and nodded. They already met this requirement. Second, the opponent must not be stronger than us, otherwise there is a high risk of backlash, which is also fine. Third and last, the opponent must be a creature with independent consciousness. Creatures with bound souls such as puppets or ferocious beasts are not included. Chapter 478 Surrender. After confirming that both sides met all the conditions for casting the spell, Yu and Daisy began to look at the instructions below. For high-risk magic like this, you must read the instructions carefully before using it, otherwise the consequences will be serious. Is this magic so difficult? I have to carve magic patterns on the opponent's soul? Yu and Daisy looked at the instructions below and understood why this method cannot be used on people who are stronger than him. Casting a spell on someone else's soul means invading the opponent's soul with your own mental power. If the strength is weak, he will definitely die. However, the little devil is now in an extremely weak state both physically and spiritually, so there is no need to worry about backlash. After memorizing the spell and magic pattern, Yu and Daisy released his soul and began to carve the magic pattern and the devil's soul. In the process of carving the magic pattern, you need to recite the spell continuously to cooperate with the magic pattern to work. An hour later, Yu and Daisy withdrew his mental power with sweat all over his head. Carving magic patterns is really complicated, but the good news is that he succeeded this time. This demon was not enslaved by the Demon King, but was just an ordinary pet. In other words, with the strength of the Demon King of the Demon Realm, he simply disdained to deliberately enslave this little demon. He had long used his absolute power to make the demons of the entire planet bow down to him and obey his orders. After confirming that the magic had taken effect, Yu and Daisy released his magic effect. The ice on the little demon began to fade, revealing a large number of scars. These were all burned by his flames this afternoon, which shows how big the gap in strength between the two was. Although it is still very weak now, as a demon, it still has a natural affinity for magic. According to observation, this demon is only about 10 years old, and is considered a leader among its kind. Moreover, under the pressure of the Demon King, he can only unconsciously limit his talent, which makes him look a little weak. Because in the demon realm, all people or things that may threaten the status of the Demon King have been cleared out by the Demon King. Even so, Yu and Daisy can feel that there is a certain seal on it, and it is specially used to limit people's future development. The seal was still far beyond his high-level power, so Yu and Daisy had to call the soul-devouring monument out to unlock the seal for it. Since it was already under his command, the stronger the better. He was unwilling to restrict the development of talents like the devil. He placed the little demon that looked like a monkey in his palm. At this time, it was on the verge of death. Yu and Daisy skipped the step of chanting the spell and directly used the rejuvenation technique to start healing the newly captured pet. Under the effect of his healing magic, the external injuries healed quickly, but the lack of vitality in the body still existed. This is like in an online game. Your burns, bleeding and other negative effects are cured, but your health bar is still empty. And as he used magic to activate the life pattern, a green light flashed and began to replenish its lost vitality. When it opened its eyes, and as he also retracted his magic power and looked at the little demon. As soon as the little demon woke up and saw and as he in front of it, it immediately exploded. What does this guy want to do by healing it? Is he torturing him? Sit still. Who told you to move? Although it was just a casual remark, the little devil had to do it. When it came to its senses, it had already sat obediently on and as his hand, unable to move. So this thing won't change its original will, just let people listen to my orders? In this case, I have to spend some time to make it not trip me up. Obviously, it will take some time to tame it, but this time is not now, because he must comprehend the law. With the approach of the Demon Realm Star, the laws of this world are more exposed, and it is a good time to comprehend. In order to quickly improve strength, it is the best choice to seize the time to comprehend the laws now. So and as he put it down, play here by yourself, don't try to escape, and don't come to disturb me. After giving the order, and as he opened his induction technique and began to comprehend the laws exposed in the air. The next morning, the weather in Tokyo became worse, and strong winds continued to rage on the streets. I'm going to school first. You two should get along well at home. Old man, you will take care of them. After saying goodbye to Kingayu and the little devil, and as he went to school and left them to guard the house. And as he wanted to beat the little devil into a painting to prevent him from doing anything out of line, but he felt that this was a bit inhumane, so he gave it to Kingayu to take care of. The little devil has gradually accepted his fate and tried to accept the life here. But soon he found that living here is much better than the Demon Star with only stone fortresses. Not only is the environment here much better, but there is no oppression from the upper demons, and there is an unprecedented sense of relaxation. His talent seems to have returned, and his practice is progressing by leaps and bounds, unlike in the Demon Star, where the nearby energy seems to reject him. And the old man also plans to improve a set of suitable exercises for it, so that this guy can also become their fighting force to deal with their real enemies. Anyway, the guy who claims to be a god and the devil have always been incompatible, right? When they arrived at the school, the crazy weather outside made everyone a little worried. If a typhoon came, it would be troublesome. Today, Nobita was worried about Miyako's safety, so he got up early and was not late. After the first get out of class, Nobita gathered everyone together and told them what happened yesterday. What did you say? Did Miyako go to find the demon world alone? Fat Tiger was a little dissatisfied with Nobita for leaving Miyako alone, but he had no right to blame him. Because even if it was him, he might make the same choice as Nobita. Yes, I'm also worried about Miyako's safety now, but I can't seem to go with her to find it. It is an indisputable fact that his strength is low, and he has no choice. Magic can't be learned quickly. Sunia also agreed. Yes, we only know how to levitate and ride a broom, and we haven't learned any offensive magic at all. As they talked, they cast their eyes on Yu and Daisuke. If it were Yuyun, he would definitely be able to help. It's a pity that he himself has no intention of doing so. He has no overall view at all, really. Their quiet complaints behind their backs naturally couldn't escape Yu and Daisuke's ears, but he was too lazy to argue with these people. At this time, a pink mouse quietly approached the school. The strong wind on the street had made it difficult for him to move. If the place where he fell last night was not too far away from them, and there was no moon in the second half of the night, he would have found Nobita long ago. According to the magic, Nobita will be found soon. When the time comes, we must ask him to help us go to the demon world. Miyako kept cheering herself up and approached Nobita's location step by step. Now, the only people willing to help her may be Nobita and his friends. In the face of a hurricane of this level, she even had trouble walking, and her magic carpet was taken away by the witch to confuse innocent children like Nobita. Just when she was about to step into the school gate, her claws on the wall suddenly slipped, causing her to accidentally fall. No, don't. At the moment, when she lost her footing, Miyako was blown away by the raging wind around her. Just when she was about to see hope, another class was in session, and the dark clouds outside were even lower, and the storm had made the windows in the classroom shaky. And as he tapped the glass here gently, he felt that the window here was about to break. If the hurricane was stronger, something would definitely happen. The teacher received a call and then put down the textbook in his hand. Students, I just received a message that due to the hurricane, the rest of the classes today will not be held. Everyone hurry back, but try not to take the magic carpet on the way. The wind is too strong now. It is easy to have an accident when riding a flying prop. Yeah. A cheer broke out in the classroom, and then everyone immediately used magic to pack up and leave. The teacher also breathed a sigh of relief and prepared to go back to pack up. In this weather, let alone students, even teachers are reluctant to go to class. And as he packed up his things and opened the window directly, regardless of the storm outside, he rushed out of the teaching building. Hey, it's too dangerous for you to do this. Student Yuyun, come back quickly. Seeing that he was so crazy, the teacher had no time to stop him and could only watch from behind. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 479, Finding the Entrance. Seeing this scene, Ziofu and his friends were even more surprised, because for safety reasons, his family did not even allow him to take a broom to school today. In their eyes, and as his behavior was simply reckless. He dared to fly in such a strong wind. After a brief moment of distraction, the others also put away their things and walked into the strong wind outside. When Nobita and his friends walked out of the teaching building, they felt as if someone was pushing them hard in front of them, and they couldn't walk at all. What a joke, this level of storm, and as he can actually fly. This guy must have cheated. Many children didn't believe it, and insisted on learning how and as he flew back on a broom. A large number of them were blown away. Damn, why is this hurricane so strong? Is it the end of the world? Ziofu couldn't move an inch on the street. He couldn't help but complain a few words and expressed the thoughts of the others. You're right. Fat Tiger, as his best friend, was the first to speak out in support. Didn't I say yesterday that the world will end soon because the Devil Star is approaching? The group was silent for a long time, and Nobita suddenly said, I plan to find Miyako and go with her to find the Devil Star. The people present did not laugh at his fantasy because they knew that this might be the only way out for the Earth. If nothing is done, there will probably be no chance. After a while, Fat Tiger decided to join me this time. Instead of waiting to die here, it's better to go to the Devil Star. Anyway, it's death. Maybe there will be a glimmer of hope there? That's right. Sunia and Shizuka also decided to join. In a blink of an eye, the 4-person group has been assembled, and now only Doraemon is left. Nobita nodded vigorously. Then let's go quickly. Let Doraemon take us there. Miyako will definitely need us. After and as he returned home, he began to observe the situation on Nobita's side through the soul crystal ball. Seeing them walking towards the other party's trap so confidently, he covered his forehead and said that he didn't know what to say. It's good to have dreams, but I didn't ask you to go there and give yourself away. It seems that these guys' IQ needs to be improved. They should not be able to die, but the devil's journey must be obtained, and they can't let it fall into Medusa's hands again. It seems that we can't stand idly by. Not long after, they really fell into Medusa's trap and began to head to Mount Everest, ready to help them get the devil's journey. And as he also stood up, and the cloak on his body appeared out of thin air. King Gyu, come here now. King Gyu, who was practicing spells, came to him inexplicably, wondering why and as he called him. Did he make a mistake again? Without giving him time to think, and as he used the Dark Star Cloak to teleport directly to the vicinity of Mount Everest, based on the observation mark on Nobita's body. And as he patted the snowflakes on his body. Is this where they put the demon world history? It's really remote. At this time on the mountainside, countless demons rode on giant dragons. trying to kill those in front of them with the burning dragon breath. Miyako, or Medusa, was on the magic carpet, constantly blocking the attacks with her sword, and even had time to chat with them. "Why did you suddenly come here? I thought you wouldn't come." There was a little surprise in her tone, as if she saw some hope. Nobita stood up with difficulty, "Because we will definitely get the demon world history. This planet should not be destroyed so easily." Fat Tiger also stood up from the magic carpet reluctantly. "That's right, Miss Miyako, what should we do now?" Although Medusa looked serious on the surface, she was almost laughing inside. These guys were indeed easy to deal with, and the most difficult guy didn't come, so her plan should be successful. "Now we need to wait. We must hold on until I find the entrance to the cave. Then we will have a chance to get the demon world journey." Doraemon began to distribute props such as dodge cloaks. "What did you say? Where is there a cave on this mountain?" "It is the entrance to the place where the demon world journey is stored. In order to prevent demons from entering, the ancestors set up a barrier. As long as we find it, we will be safe." Miyako pretended to be constantly searching, "But the snow here is too thick. I can't find it for a while. Please try harder." Just when Yu and Daisy was about to continue watching the show, the old man suddenly said, "Boy, you engraved this thing on this mountain. What is this?" Yu and Daisy looked at the extra magic pattern in his sea of consciousness and asked what it was used for. "This is a sacrificial array that can extract the souls of all the creatures in the array. These things can just replenish my soul power." Yu and Daisy took a closer look. The magic pattern was not complicated, but it was too big, and it was not so easy to engrave it. So he passed this magic pattern to King Yu and asked him to help, and then both of them entered the invisible state. Putting his hands on the same starting point, the demon power and magic power flowed, forming a strange energy pattern on the ground, and then quickly disappeared. No one noticed these abnormalities, because Medusa and the others were still concentrating on acting. She must now devote herself to the role, otherwise it would be too dangerous. You know, any small mistake may cause these children to die on the spot. She doesn't have time to find some new little cuties. Doraemon and Miyako are responsible for blocking the opponent's attack, while Nobita and others are responsible for counter-attacking the dragon with props such as air cannons. Miyako saw that the time was almost right, so she gave the demon general behind her a look to signal that she could take action. The demon behind immediately understood, and then controlled his dragon to start breathing, as if he wanted to burn the opponent to ashes. "Watch me." Miyako turned around and threw a lightning bolt, which hit the demon general directly. The dragon let out a terrible cry in the air, and as if it was paralyzed, it began to fall from the sky. The electric shock was really painful, but their will was still clear, and they knew clearly how to complete the task. After the dragon fell from the sky to the mountainside, it began to roll on the hillside, but the dragon breath in its mouth never stopped. The gorgeous flames crossed the mountain again and again, constantly melting the snow on the ground, and finally revealed a cave covered with crystals. Miyako immediately shouted, "Everyone, look. That cave entrance is the entrance to the cave, where the history of the demon world is stored." "What? Great." Everyone present immediately cheered up and rushed towards the cave together. Success or failure depended on this. Yu and Daisy saw this scene from the side and seemed a little anxious. "Damn, how can they find the cave so quickly? We have only finished half of the magic pattern here." There was no way. He had to send a soul message to King Yu now, asking him to speed up and make sure to finish carving all the magic patterns before they come out. The two of them increased their movement speed at the same time. The speed at which the power drained away was accelerated, and the progress of the carving began to grow rapidly. The demons seemed to have discovered the cave entrance, and a large number of flying dragons began to gather here, ready to intercept them. Miyako controlled the magic carpet, dodging the gushing dragon breath again and again, and soon arrived at the entrance. But she herself had no intention of going in. "You go first. I'll hold these guys here, and I'll pick you up after you come out." Seeing this, Doraemon also stood beside her. "You can't defend it alone. I'll stay and help." "Okay, then the outside is left to you." The others nodded and stopped shirking, and jumped in from just above the entrance. Chapter 480 The High Position. After everyone went in, the offensive of the surrounding demons instantly slowed down, or it would be more appropriate to say that it almost stopped. The battlefield instantly became quiet, with only a few sporadic fireballs appearing around occasionally, and the degree of deviation was simply outrageous. The blue fat man stood next to Miyako, looking at the demons circling around, feeling a little strange. Why did these guys stop attacking as soon as they entered? Could it be a trap? At this time, Doraemon still did not doubt Miyako. He thought that this cave was a trap set by the demons, and they wanted to kill all of them who knew about it here. Miyako did not answer. She was not sure whether the little guy was talking about her or something else. In order to delay time as much as possible, silence was the best choice at this time. But it is not very important whether it is exposed now. Anyway, those children will definitely come out, and at that time, the worst thing is to snatch them. And Yu and Dazi and his magic patterns are also progressing rapidly. Unknowingly, there is only a small part left to complete. At this moment, the magic circle at the entrance of the cave was suddenly lifted, and several children climbed out from inside. Great, we got the demon world history. As soon as Nobita finished speaking, all the demons around fled in panic, and the speed was so fast that it was jaw-dropping. Miyako quickly controlled the magic carpet to fly down, and brought those people to the top of a rock. Where is the demon world history? Let me see it. Fat Tiger did not doubt her at all. Took out a wooden box from his pocket and opened it. The demon world history is here. But Miyako did something that no one expected. She suddenly rushed over and took the demon world history from the box. Everyone present was stunned for a moment and then questioned her. What are you doing? We are not giving it to you. So why do we have to rob it? I'm so sorry. Because of my identity, I can't touch the box directly. So for the sake of safety, it's better for me to get it myself. At this time, everyone finally realized that something was wrong, because Miyako's voice gradually became that of an old lady. Damn it, who the hell are you? Everyone took 2 steps back and looked at her warily. Who the hell are you? What happened to Miyako? At this time, Yu and Dazi and Kingayu finished the last magic pattern carving and stretched lazily with satisfaction. Then he opened his induction technique again, taking in the situation over there, and then shook his head helplessly. The bad thing really happened. I finally got it done here. The situation over there doesn't seem to be good, but it seems there is still a chance to save it. Kingayu, come here. Yu and Dazi put the Dark Star Cloak on Kingayu for a layer of protection, and after adding the giant strength technique to himself, he said to him, wait a minute, cooperate with me, and try to quickly snatch the demon world journey. Then he asked Kingayu to stand next to him, and Yu and Dazi used his mental power to aim at Medusa's hand, and released a 3rd level wind magic, Broken Blade. Before the wind blade was sent out, Yu and Dazi's right hand had already grabbed Kingayu's collar, and at the same time, he took a step forward. Physical technique, throwing stars. A large number of cracks appeared on the mountain below, and Kingayu was thrown by Yu and Dazi as a weapon with all his strength, and the speed of flying out was no less than that of the magic shattering blade just now. You ask who I am? Miyako's figure gradually changed, and finally became a white-haired banshee, with snake heads on both sides constantly spitting out snake heads, which looked very creepy. I'm the demon under the throne of the demon kingdom, Medusa. I came to the earth to retrieve this demon world journey on the order of kingdom. Her right hand clasped the demon world journey tightly, and her left hand began to gather energy to release magic. Now my mission is completed. You will die. Who is it? She just realized that something was wrong, and then her right hand holding the demon world journey was cut off by a wind blade, and the demon world journey also fell to the ground. The wind blade continued to move, and it cut through a small hill behind them before completely disappearing. No. The journey to the demonic world. Medusa ignored the pain in her body and tried to use magic to grab the scroll on the ground. But a black light flashed, and the journey to the demonic world was snatched by a kid wearing a black cloak. Medusa instantly recognized the cloak. Damn, it's you again. When did you come? Why didn't the guards around react at all? The boy in the black cloak didn't answer, but covered his chest and gasped. Behind Medusa, a lazy but very annoying voice came. Sorry, the person you are looking for is here. And as he slowly floated behind Medusa and looked at King Gyu, "Are you okay? I shouldn't have used much strength." King Gyu, who was kneeling on the ground, said that he didn't want to talk to him. The previous blow was definitely aimed at his life. "Damn you. I'm going to kill you." Medusa immediately aimed the magic of her right hand at Yu and Daisuke, eternal frozen wind. Yu and Daisuke, who had been prepared, immediately jumped up and dodged the dark blue storm that was raging in a fan shape under his feet. Medusa was now in a state of madness. This attack of magic was her full strength attack, and the purpose was to kill Yu and Daisuke. Even if he could withstand it, he couldn't take it head on, so dodging was the most cost effective. The cold wind that didn't hit the target blew on the stone wall behind, and the ice began to spread wildly from the place where it hit, freezing the entire mountain. Seeing that her fatal attack didn't hit, Medusa immediately called her subordinates, all demon generals. "Listen to my order, crush them for me." The demon generals hidden in the surroundings appeared again, and hundreds of giant dragons and 2-star demon generals surrounded this area, and the temperature around began to rise sharply. Yu and Daisuke calmly snapped his fingers. "I knew you would do this. Fortunately, I was prepared, otherwise the problem would be troublesome." A stream of magic power flowed into the ground, starting from his feet, and the magic pattern quickly spread to the surroundings, covering most of the battlefield. "What is this? When did he prepare it?" Seeing the magic pattern on the ground, Medusa panicked. The last time they went to the church to take away the full moon priest, they also drew the magic circle in advance and then killed him with one blow. But what Medusa never expected was that this would happen to her soon. The magic pattern emitted light, and the souls of the surrounding demons began to be extracted, turning into energy and pouring into Yu and Daisuke's sea of consciousness. And all of this pure soul energy was absorbed by the soul-devouring monument to replenish the consumption of the previous realm breaking. Wherever the magic pattern covered, the demons were not spared, and were all used as supplements. After only a few seconds, the souls of all the demons disappeared. The soul-devouring monument in the sea of consciousness greedily absorbed energy. "It's perfect. After such a long time of continuous replenishment, I finally recovered half of my energy." "You absorbed so many people to recover half of your energy. How much energy did you have at the beginning? How did you consume it to this extent?" Suppressing the surprise in his heart, Yu and Daisuke pointed to the last person. "Okay, now you go and accompany them, Medusa." Just as the magic pattern was about to take away Medusa's soul, a supreme being suddenly felt that his servant was threatened. "What's going on? Medusa's soul is actually threatened? Who among the mortals on Earth has the ability to do this?" Hesitating for a moment, he stretched out his hand. "Even if the mission fails, she can't die now. There are other things that need her." When Medusa's soul was about to leave her body, Yu and Daisuke suddenly felt a consciousness from a high-ranking person, which directly acted on his sea of consciousness. Puff! The sudden soul attack caught him off guard, and blood spurted out of his mouth like a sharp arrow. If the old man hadn't reacted in time to protect his origin, even if he didn't die now, he probably wouldn't be able to cultivate magic in the future. This is the power of a high-ranking person. Without the control of the master, the magic pattern underground also completely collapsed in an instant, turning into light spots scattered in the air. Chapter 481, Return with a Great Victory. What's going on? Everyone was confused by this sudden change. How could Yun, who had the upper hand just now, suddenly become like this? There was no sign at all. Why did he suddenly fall down? With the help of external forces, Medusa broke free from the magic circle and stared at Yu and Daisuke with vicious eyes. "Damn, just a little devil, but he forced me to this point." Medusa used up all her magic power and released the petrification spell on Yu and Daisuke. The purple light accurately hit him, who lost the ability to resist. As his body gradually turned into stone, Medusa looked at the child behind her. Now that the biggest obstacle has disappeared, the journey to the demon world is not easy. "What did you do to my brother?" Before she could be proud for a few seconds, a fist hit her face. King Gyu had already escaped from the pain, and he himself was not injured. It was just a little painful where he was hit. "Asshole, remember this." Medusa, who had lost most of her magic power, could only take 2 steps back and then wait for an opportunity to take revenge. Anyway, the demons in the distance were approaching. Even if there were only more than 20 flying dragons left, they would be enough to burn these people to ashes. However, King Gyu, who was furious, obviously did not intend to give her this opportunity. He stretched out his hand and made a seal. Kill in thunder method, summon the tribulation cloud. As soon as the voice fell, the sky, which was not clear to begin with, became as dark as ink, and there was a faint flash of lightning in the black clouds. What is this? Medusa looked at the sky. She had never seen such magic before. Moreover, the supreme majesty coming from the clouds made her fear surge in her heart. Medusa herself was a person who had signed a contract with the devil. In essence, she belonged to the evil demons and the fallen. The heavenly tribulation was the natural enemy of these people. Not to mention that she was exhausted now. Even Medusa in her prime would not dare to move below. Although I don't know what magic you used, as long as you die, the effect will naturally be lifted. Go to hell. King Gyu immediately waved her hand, and lightning as thick as a bucket fell, trying to split the person who was supposed to be tribulations below into charcoal. Damn it, is this the end? Looking at the lightning that was approaching in the sky, Medusa had chosen to accept her own death. Just when the lightning was about to fall on her head, another flying dragon suddenly approached and took the initiative to crash into the thunder. The dragon and the demon general felt no pain under the lightning and quietly turned into dust and dissipated with the wind. Then another flying dragon approached and took away Medusa, who was still stunned on the ground. The strength of this little guy exceeded expectations. They had little chance of winning and could only retreat first. Don't think about running. King Gyu certainly couldn't let them go. The lightning in his hand condensed into a spear and threw it at the dragon in the air. But this time, it was still a dragon that blocked them, using his life to buy time for Medusa to escape. The remaining 20 flying dragons approached quickly. They knew very well what their next fate would be, but none of them chose to escape. Seeing that there was a short period of safety here, the people behind him approached quickly. King Gyu, take Yu and Dazi away quickly, we will cover the rear. When they saw the large number of dragons in the sky, they had already lost their fighting spirit. Even if the child was very powerful, they did not think they could deal with so many enemies. King Gyu looked at the demon general still in the air with hatred. Although he also wanted to kill these things, now was not the time to do it. The sooner the curse was lifted, the more convenient it would be. He would rather go back and think of a way instead of fighting with these people here. Just as he approached Yu and Dazi, the cloak on King Gyu's body suddenly moved and took out a dark necklace from his storage space. Just now, the soul-devouring monument suddenly found the dark star cloak and told it that there was a prop in his space that could restrain the petrification curse on Yu and Dazi. This prop was the source of darkness taken from Letina before, which could absorb and store dark power. He put the necklace on Yu and Dazi's body, and with the cooperation of the soul-devouring monument, the negative energy of petrification was squeezed out of Yu and Dazi's body. Thanks to his strong body, otherwise the old man would not dare to do such a thing. Then the necklace absorbed the dark energy that left his body, completely eliminating the trouble. As the petrified energy faded, his body began to return to normal. At this time, the wound on Yu and Dazi's soul was almost healed by the soul-devouring monument, and now he regained consciousness. Not long after, Yu and Dazi, who was no longer petrified, touched his still aching head and sat up, asking in confusion, what happened just now? Yuyun, hurry up. Otherwise, if the flying dragon comes, it will be difficult for you to leave. Doraemon stood in front of the arbitrary door and anxiously shouted to Yu and Dazi, who was still sitting on the ground in a daze. Hearing Doraemon's words, Yu and Dazi came back to his senses and began to face these flying dragon knights hovering in the air. TSK, isn't it just slaying dragons? It's not the first time I've done it. As he spoke, a silver staff appeared in his hand. He raised the archangel's staff high, and with its help, he emitted the spell and directly mobilized the surrounding elemental power to cast magic. Suddenly, the crystal of the archangel's staff burst out with a light comparable to the sun, causing everyone present to temporarily go blind. Then the light quickly gathered and formed a golden ball of light in the sky, which was too dazzling to look directly at. Level 3 light magic, scattering aura. As soon as the voice fell, a large number of rays burst out from the light ball, plowing a series of gullies in the places where it was illuminated. After the Archangel's staff absorbed a large amount of natural power, the power of the magic amplification exceeded his imagination. Then the light pulled out a net in the air, and then rotated irregularly for a circle, ruthlessly cutting anything it touched. Whether it was ice, rocks, or flying dragons and demons in the sky, they were all cut into several pieces. With one blow, the area was easily cleared, and Yu and Dazi put away his magic wand. Now it's all solved. As soon as the voice fell, there was a rumbling sound from the ground that could not bear the weight, and the nearby mountains began to collapse. The light just now passed through some relatively weak mountains, so part of the mountain was cut off. Yu and Dazi hurried to the anywhere door. Let's go back quickly. With such a big commotion, someone should come to check the situation. There must be powerful superpowers on the Celestial Empire side, and Mount Everest is also a key area of concern. It is impossible that they did not notice the abnormal situation here. It is better to leave quickly. Then he pushed those who were still standing in front of the anywhere door into it and closed it. The snow mountain behind him continued to collapse, burying all the traces just now, leaving no clues for others to explore. Back in Nobita's room, everyone has not recovered from the previous attack. The previous attack has exceeded their imagination. How strong is this guy? Yu and Dazi walked to Kingayu next to him and stretched out his hand. Where is the demon world journey? You should have got it. A red scroll flew out of the cloak, and the dark star cloak on Kingayu had already put it away by itself. Okay, the demon world history is still in our hands. What are you going to do next? Go to the demon world star? Yu and Dazi casually opened the demon world history, and it was just like reading a heavenly book. Nothing could be understood. When they were thinking about what to do next, Fat Tiger suddenly took out the box and opened it in front of them. By the way, classmate Yuan, I actually have 2 copies of the Demon World History, and here is one that has not been stolen. Taking the other copy of the Demon World History, Yu and Dazi looked at Doraemon next to him. Take out the translation konjac. We don't have the ability to interpret it. The blue fat man nodded, took out a whole piece of konjac from his pocket, and then tore it off one by one, and everyone got a little. After swallowing the translation konjac, Yu and Dazi spread the scroll flat on the ground, and asked everyone to interpret the translation together. This document of mine tells the story of Narniadus creating a magic circle, which is a power to restrain demons. Yu and Dazi put this thing away. If he followed the original book, he would not have the chance to face the Demon King. However, with this magic circle that can restrain demons, he may not lose to it if he studies and improves the magic a little. Chapter 482 Setting sail again. On the other side, they also finished interpreting, but judging from their faces, they seemed to have encountered something that made them very uncomfortable. What happened to you? Did you eat the translation konjac and encounter something that you can't interpret? Yu and Dazi couldn't help but feel a little uneasy. If he missed some key information that he didn't remember, this copy would be a big problem. No, the interpretation of the demon world process went smoothly. Nobita and the others stood up, but there are some things stored in it. We don't know that magic and can't take it out. As he said, Nobita and the others pulled the scroll to the end, revealing the scroll with 10 silver darts. They couldn't take this thing out. This is an ancient magic. Except for a very small number of magic scholars, no one knows this thing, and there is nothing we can do. Ziofu, who had some experience, shook his head helplessly. After encountering this thing, did their plan to save the world just fail? Nobita also nodded. If the full moon priest was still here, he should be able to take this thing out, and Miyako can do it too. Hearing this question, Yu and Dazi almost laughed out loud. They were stumped by such a small thing. So he took the scroll and said, "That's really a coincidence. I learned this trick after meeting the full moon priest last time." As he spoke, he took out these silver darts from the two-dimensional plane according to the magic trajectory given to him by the soul-devouring monument. Seeing 10 silver darts floating in the air, everyone's faces became very surprised. Yuan is really omnipotent. Since the things have been taken out, let's divide them now, and then. There seems to be a rat outside. Yu and Dazi suddenly pointed at the window. A pink rat kept scratching the window, as if trying to escape from the storm. Hearing that there was a rat, Doraemon immediately jumped up from the ground. "Help, there is a rat." Then he began to frantically take out props, trying to get rid of the hateful rat on the spot. No matter which world it is, rats are creatures that must die. Gian and Eiji opened the window remotely, used the levitation technique to bring Miyako in, and teased, "You finally came here." Then he chanted a spell, and a magic power similar to moonlight was released. It was the ability he had just learned from the scroll. The pale yellow moonlight shone on her body, and the demonic magic on the mouse quickly faded, and her body turned back to Miyako's appearance. And Nobita and Doraemon finally remembered that Yu and Eiji was wrong. After all this time, did he know that the other party was pretending? Yuan, so you already knew that this mouse was Miyako? No wonder you didn't trust Miyako all the time. Doraemon and Nobita nodded, as if they had suddenly realized something, and the others had gradually become accustomed to Yu and Eiji's cheating performance, so they didn't show too much surprise. But Miyako was a little unhappy. "Since you are going to ask Nobita for help, why didn't you keep me yesterday? You wanted to leave, can you blame me?" He said that he was inexplicably blamed, and I also said yesterday that I have my own arrangements, but you don't believe it. Listening to their conversation, others were a little confused. What unspeakable thing happened to them yesterday? Miyako stroked her hair and turned the matter over. "Forget it, I don't want to waste energy on this. Let's go to the Demon World Star now." "Of course, I have no problem." Deiji was the first to raise his hands in agreement. "Remember to call Dekisugi, it's safer to have one more fighting force." The others immediately agreed. They had just proved their determination with their lives. How could they back down now? But the problem is, we don't have any means of transportation. My custom-made magic carpet was taken away by those people, and now I have to buy a new one. Miyako covered her head and felt a headache. For the magic carpets on the market now, only the best ones can barely meet the requirements. I have to find a way to solve the funding problem. "Are you talking about the magic carpet?" Yu and Dazi pointed to King Gayu next to him. "Take that thing out. I should have stuffed it into the cloak when I left." As soon as the voice fell, the cloak spit out a blanket with complex patterns. It was the magic carpet that Miyako and her friends customized. Because when he left, he considered that Miyako might need this thing, so he took the time to collect it. Even if they didn't use it, they could use it in the real world after they returned. Besides, Miyako is a pauper now. It's impossible to ask him to pay for a magic carpet comparable to a luxury car. "You actually put it away. That's good." Miyako stretched out her hand and used magic to control the carpet. "I can't use magic in the state of mouse. Now I can control this special magic carpet to go to the Demon World Star." This magic carpet is a top grade product that they have worked hard to create. It is not only of excellent quality, but also much faster than all the magic carpets sold on the market. It can also enter super time and space travel. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is a flying carpet in the universe. Everyone stood on the magic carpet and, under the guidance of Yu and Dazuki, began to move towards the direction of Dekishi's house. The group came to the window of Dekishi's house. At this time, he was reading a book. Seeing that everyone had come, he was a little surprised. "Why did you come to my house? Dazuki, what's going on?" Zyadishin put down the book in his hand, walked to the window, and motioned everyone to come in. Everyone else shook their heads. Now time is urgent. There is no time to waste in his house. It is better to explain the situation quickly and then set off. "Yunkei, we need you here. Come with us to the Demon World Star." Yu and Dazuki stretched out his hand and wanted to pull him onto the magic carpet. But Izuki shook his head. "No, my father is back, and he won't let me go out now, so." Hearing this, Yu and Dazuki's hand in the air froze. He didn't expect this result. The others also gave up hope. They all knew that he would not be part of this adventure, and they couldn't help but feel a little regretful. "Well, you just wait at home for the news of our triumphant return." Yu and Dazuki withdrew his hand and closed the window. Just as they were about to leave, Zyadishin suddenly sent a message to Yu and Dazuki. "Also, my father told you not to be angry and come back early." Yu and Dazuki outside paused for a moment, then replied, "I know, let's talk about this later." Under Miyako's control, they controlled the magic carpet to fly into space, ready to learn from their predecessors. to go to space to deal with the demon world star. Izuki looked at their receding backs and suddenly had a strange feeling, as if he had been abandoned by the world. All his good friends were gathering in the battle, but he had to stay here because of his parents. Although he didn't think he did anything wrong, he always felt that he should be in their ranks and fight with them. Thinking of this, he couldn't read the book in his hand anymore. Izuki kept thinking about their situation. Why couldn't he be as free as them? After everyone flew out of the earth, they found that there was no measure to deal with the vacuum, but they could still breathe the air normally in the universe. What's going on? You should have noticed it, right? Nobita looked at Doraemon, and he nodded to Nobita. That's right, the laws here are different from those on Earth, so we can't look at this world with conventional eyes. Doraemon looked at the vast universe, and suddenly felt a little emotional. This was not the first time he had saved the world here. However, and as he saw the moon, he remembered very clearly that someone had destroyed the magic circle on that planet. Although the current situation is very different from the original, he still thinks that he should keep a backup to prevent this from happening. The strength of others is not enough, and Miyako and Doraemon cannot be absent, otherwise they will need to fill the gap if something unexpected happens on the Demon World Star. After looking around, and as he found that only Kingayu, who was the strongest, could take on this task. Kingayu, I'm going to give you a task. You go to the far side of the moon and protect the core of the moon. Kingayu shook his head vigorously, but brother, I want to be with you. I don't want to stay alone on the moon. Listen, this task is very serious. Only you can do it, and I only trust you. And as he took off his cloak, it will accompany you instead of me. Promise me, okay? Kingayu hesitated for a long time, but still took the cloak and nodded vigorously. Chapter 483 Arrival. After quietly sending Kingayu away, and as he continued to stand behind everyone, as if nothing had happened, silently looking up at the endless starry sky. Old man, are the stars I see now also from the fragments of this world? No, the fragments of the world are not that big. Even the world you lived in before was not complete, but you just didn't find it. And as he looked at the earth, that was getting farther and farther away behind him with some doubts. Is this planet also incomplete? But it looks complete, no matter how you look at it. He still asked Old Man Ling with some disbelief, but Chumushin, and I have clearly traveled around the world before. How do you explain this? You only went around the equator, you didn't go to the north and south poles, and there are also the seabed and the cores of the stars. Your strength is not yet at this level, so you can't find their incompleteness. These words made and Dazi speechless. They really hadn't been to these places, so it seemed that they had to prepare to find time to go there and take a look. Miyako clapped her hands. Okay, everyone, we are about to enter warp speed. Come with me. Warp speed? And Dazi was stunned for a moment. Why does this thing sound like the name of the technology side? A magic power was released from Miyako's feet, and the magic circle in the center of the magic carpet suddenly opened, revealing the space inside. There is actually another space inside? Everyone walked into the stairs in amazement. The space inside the magic carpet was much larger than they imagined, enough for them all to have a single room. I will be responsible for operating the magic carpet here. You can find a place to rest first. Now we are still a certain distance away from the Demon World Star. Miyako assigned rooms to everyone, so that everyone could have a good rest. Then she waited for the Demon World Star to approach alone in the cab. The road was still long, and she couldn't be lazy. At night, Izuki lay on his bed tossing and turning. He had been thinking about whether he should go on an adventure with them during the day. Seeing and Dazi standing between them and taking them on an adventure, he actually always yearned for this kind of life. Moreover, up to now, natural disasters such as earthquakes, tsunamis and storms have become more and more frequent. It feels that the world has long been on the verge of collapse. He knows that this is the disaster brought by the approaching demon world. It is certainly his dream to follow them to save the world, but he also has his difficulties. Today, his parents were worried about him being alone at home, so they took a special leave to come back to visit. Naturally, he didn't want to disappoint his parents. After all, he was a good boy in everyone's eyes. He had psychological constraints and didn't dare to leave here openly. If I go now, my parents will definitely worry about me. What should I do to make them feel at ease? He turned over in bed. My parents will be very relieved if I take it at home, but what should I do when my friends over there need me? After struggling for a long time between going and not going, he finally made up his mind and sat up from the bed. I should still go, otherwise I will always be worried about them. Although I feel a little sorry for my parents, this is the only way now. Sorry. Chumushin extended his mental power, floated downstairs, and quietly tampered with his parents' memories, making them think that he agreed to Chumushin's going out, and at the same time, put them into a deep sleep. Then he went downstairs and opened his long-closed storage, where he usually kept his groceries. Although Yu and Dazi would occasionally pay attention to it, he didn't seem to take it seriously, so he didn't know much about what was going on here. But during this period of time, Chumushin had already stockpiled a large number of parts here, all of which were made for the spacecraft. His mental power turned into several palms and took out the unused things inside. Ever since he got the inspiration from that spacecraft, he has been trying to make spacecrafts and gradually gained some experience. He had always wanted to make a real spacecraft before, but after thinking about it for a long time, he had to give up this idea. First, there was no place to put it at home after it was made, and second, even if it was made, it would not be needed at that time. Then he searched among the groceries again. I remember it should be here, the drawings of the last design. I found it. A hardcover book flew out of the warehouse and landed in Chumushin's hand. He began to look through his old notes. There were more than 100 pages in it, all of which were the drawings he imagined when he tried to make a spacecraft before, and they were constantly improved and perfected. The most detailed and closest to the possible blueprint was his last spaceship, which was also his goal this time. Under the influence of mental power, the parts began to be installed one by one according to his blueprint, and the missing parts were made on the spot with mental power. More than 2 hours later, Izuki wiped his sweat and checked his new spaceship with mental power. After confirming that all the parts were running normally, he continued to ponder. Very good. It seems that my design is correct, so now only the power part of the spaceship is left. This is also what has been bothering him. There is no way to provide enough energy for this spaceship to reach the standard of warp speed. If electricity is used, then according to his expectation, at least this town must be empty to propel this spaceship to the speed he needs. Nuclear energy can be used, but he has no way to get the raw materials, and stealing is not in line with his personality, and there is no place for him to steal now. His ability is not enough to create nuclear fission or nuclear fusion. The current limit of his ability can only manipulate the atomic sequence. If he wants to change the type of element, he is still far away. By the way, since my technological means can't do this, why don't I try something from the magic world? Zyadishan immediately took out the prop that Yu and Dazi gave him on his birthday, the somersault cloud. He didn't know what the energy core of this thing was, but it could be used all the time without running out of energy. Now it would be great if he could use it to provide energy for his spaceship. When he put the somersault cloud into the power room, the cloud immediately began to spread and gradually filled the entire power core. The blue lines representing pure energy spread from the lines on the edge of the power core, and this brand new spaceship came to life at this moment. Demishan immediately ran to the cockpit in front, and the energy bar was full. If his prediction was correct, there would be no problem running back and forth this time. So Demishan happily pressed the start button and said to himself to the spaceship, although this is our first cooperation, I believe you will not let me down. A blue flame beam was ejected from its tail, and the spaceship suddenly soared into the sky and set off towards the distant Demon Realm star. Everyone, come and gather. We can see the Demon Star now. Please don't sleep anymore. Miyako's anxious voice echoed in everyone's room. Nobita and others were woken up by her and yawned sleepily. Everyone changed their clothes and came to the cab. Miyako was staring at the Demon Star in front of them with a serious expression, analyzing the situation for everyone. The Demon Star is right in front of us now, but we can't get close. The black flames around are too fierce. Miyako pointed to the flame curtain in front of her. That layer of black stuff was not something his magic carpet could contend with at all. It would definitely not work to force his way in. Yu and Dazi also felt palpitations from that layer of flames. He had no way to break through this layer of flames from the front. If the Dark Star Cloak was still there, maybe he could try to put on the Dark Star Cloak and force his way in, but the cloak was not there now, so he had no choice. Chapter 484 Alien Visitors. Yu and Dazi looked at this layer of flames. It was equivalent to the boundary of the world fragments. He couldn't pass it in his current state. Miyako looked at Yu and Dazi with some dissatisfaction. Why are you still standing there in a daze? Hurry up and take out the Demon World History. Demon World History? Yu and Dazi turned his head and looked at her. Why did you suddenly ask me for that thing? Seeing him so slow, Miyako touched her forehead helplessly. The Demon World History should record how the great wizards passed through this layer of flames. We want to learn from it. So that's how it is. Nobita took out both Demon World History and handed them to her. Here, I can't find it. You can find it yourself. After dispersing these things, Yu and Dazi opened the entrance and exit above and prepared to leave the magic carpet from here. Yu and classmate, what are you going to do now? Aren't you going to act with us? Miyako said that she was helpless. Why does this guy always cause her some trouble? Can't he just listen to her command and stay here? Yu and Dazi glanced at her casually and then continued to climb up. Yes, you just wait here for my good news. Even though the two places were so far apart, Yu and Dazi had already seen the blood red moon in the distance, or the heart of the Demon King. Since he had seen the target of this decisive battle, he was now ready to go over and end this adventure. I thought that guy would choose to put the moon in the demon world for safety reasons, making it more difficult for them to win. Who knew that the Demon King was really so stupid that he directly exposed his heart? This action seemed to say to him, come and kill me quickly. So Yu and Dazi was too lazy to follow these people to the demon world and just made a settlement here with the other side. How harmonious is it? Remember to wait for me here. I will go over and deal with the Demon King and come back. By the way, remember to prepare delicious food for me to celebrate my victory when I come back. Ignoring the screams of the people below, Yu and Dazi left the magic carpet directly and began to move towards the direction of the blood red moon alone. There was no other way. The distance between the two places was too far, and he could not guarantee that there would be no deviation when throwing. Therefore, standing directly on the moon was the best choice. At the very least, he had to get very close to the moon, otherwise, if he made a mistake, he would be embarrassed. The people who had lost their backbone had to look at Miyako, who was the second most powerful person. Miss Miyako, what should we do now? Continue to approach? With 2 volumes of the demon world in her hands, Miyako hesitated for a long time, but still shook her head. Forget it. I will stop the magic carpet for the time being, and everyone will continue to stand by. But before Yu and Dazi comes back, everyone must not relax, and must be prepared to fight the enemy at any time. So the magic carpet stopped in space, quietly waiting for the triumphant return of a certain boaster. But who knew that Yu and Dazi would completely lose his news after he left? After an hour, everyone was a little impatient waiting. Why hasn't that guy come back yet? Just when everyone was getting impatient, the magic carpet suddenly shook violently, and this accident made everyone a little panicked. Miyako immediately shouted, everyone, hurry up and hold on to the things near you. We have now entered the gravitational range of the Demon World Star. Although they have not taken any action, the Demon World Star has been approaching them, so it is only a matter of time before they meet. Everyone immediately found a fixed object close to them to hold on to, while Miyako used the levitation technique to start looking through the 2 volumes of the Demon World History. Now that Yu and Dazi has lost contact, we must rely on our own abilities to defeat the Demon King. Her eyes kept scanning the scrolls. What should I do? Where is the way to enter the Demon World Star? More than 10 hours ago, King Gai flew to the moon with the Dark Star Cloak. According to the map given to him by Yu and Dazi, he went to find the sealed core. Slowly walked to a plane similar to a mirror. This piece was the place with the strongest magic power on the entire moon, and the mirror surrounded by the magic circle was the target he wanted to protect this time, and it was also the core part of the magic circle. Is this it? I wonder how long it will take my brother and the others to come back. King Gai sat down next to them, ready to wait for them here. The cloak that had been silent on him suddenly floated up, took out a deck of playing cards from his own space, and motioned Kingayu to come over and play poker. In this way, they sat here for almost 10 hours, but there was still no news from outside, and they were almost bored to death. The cloak was fine. After all, it was an old thing that had been silent for thousands of years, and this little time was just a drizzle for him. But Kingayu was getting more and more irritable. Now he was annoyed just looking at the playing cards, and really wanted to get the news of their triumphant return, and go back to sleep. Not long after, Kingayu, who was dozing off, suddenly woke up, and looked at the distance of the endless starry sky. It seemed that someone was approaching. So he hurriedly waved to the dark star cloak next to him, and the cloak immediately understood his meaning, and flew to him to provide protection. The figure in the starry sky gradually approached, but it was not the kind of demon with a human face and fangs that they thought, because the body size was really a bit small. Kingayu stared at the figure in the starry sky and said, "What is that? Is it the person that my brother said came to destroy the magic circle?" The cloak was a little strange. It seemed that he had seen that person somewhere before, so he began to frantically warn Kingayu, and kept pulling him. Feeling the power coming from his neck, Kingayu was a little confused. "What's wrong with you? Please explain it to me with your consciousness." While they were pulling and tugging, the figure in the starry sky had already arrived in front of them, and finally fell slowly in front of Kingayu. "I didn't expect that there would be someone on the moon now. Have you lost your respect for the ancient gods?" The short old man looked around, and continued his questioning. "Where is the palace of the moon goddess Selene? It won't be destroyed by you, right?" Although it was a question, Kingayu didn't hear any tone of questioning, but felt a sense of condescension. So he was very unhappy and immediately retorted, "What moon goddess? I have never heard of her. Where are you from?" It was really difficult for him to respect these old people. After all, when he saw them, he thought of the old man in the soul-devouring monument. Humph, how bold. The old man seemed to have never been insulted like this before, and he was ready to take action immediately. Kingayu was also a hot-tempered person. Anyway, his father didn't say that he would listen to other old men before he died, so he was too lazy to talk nonsense with this old man. The old man raised his hand, and his mental power poured out with his movements. A long river of mental power appeared in this place instantly. However, the combat ability of the Thunder Kirin was not weak, and its speed was the fastest among all the Kirins. This skill with obvious pre-attack swing could not hit him. With the help of the Dark Star Cloak, Kingayu's speed was much faster than usual. He ran to the side and avoided this mental attack. The unblocked mental power created a crack on the ground, and the extremely hard magic crystal on the surface of the moon was easily torn apart, as if it was made of paper. What scared Kingayu the most was that this crack just passed by the mirror surface of the moon's core and almost destroyed the magic circle on the moon. Chapter 485 Soul God Manison. Seeing the crack beside him, Kingayu swallowed his saliva. "No, if my mission fails, my brother will definitely be very disappointed. I have to lead him to another place." Kingayu, who had made up his mind, immediately changed his tactics. After throwing out a few lightning bolts, he began to run to the other side. The old man disdained his lightning attack and snorted coldly, "Is this all you can do? You really disappoint me." As soon as the voice fell, the ground in front of him suddenly exploded, and a yellow crystal wall rose up, easily blocking all the lightning thrown by Kingayu. Although the old man's mocking voice was not loud, for some reason, Kingayu, who had already run far away, could still hear it clearly. Although he was a little annoyed after hearing it, but now he must take the overall situation into consideration, so he still stayed away from this place as planned. As long as he ran far enough, after he left the magic circle, he could show his skills without any worries. Seeing him running forward, the old man was a little impatient. "Don't run. Even if you have run to the border of the moon, I can still catch you. TSK, I can see that you are the kind of person who only knows how to talk big." Kingayu curled her lips and ignored the old man who was talking nonsense behind her. At this moment, the crystal-like crystals on the ground in front of Kingayu suddenly stretched out, forming a wall on this piece of ground, blocking all of Kingayu's ways. This is the old man using his mental power to distort the material form, which can use the surrounding environment to snipe the enemy and defend against the enemy's attack. Moreover, after being strengthened by mental power, the original hardness and toughness of the material will be greatly improved. But King Gaiu did not mean to stop, but continued to charge forward, intending to force his way through. He stretched out his hand, and there was a faint lightning surrounding it. If you are only this level now, you can't stop me. The fist collided with the crystal wall, and the wall suddenly broke open a big hole, and golden crystal fragments flew all over the sky. This is the physical technique of the Demon Clan, which is a technique specially tailored to match the body and strength of the Demon Clan. With the cooperation of the demonic power, the power of this move was far beyond what Liu and Azzy could match. After breaking the wall, King Gaiu wanted to continue charging and find a better position to prepare for the fight. But he had to stop because he saw that the road ahead was already covered with endless crystals. The wall he just broke was only the outermost layer of these barriers, and the difference between it and the back was like wood and cardboard. Seeing this scene, King Gaiu took 2 steps back in disbelief. How is it possible? How can you form such a thick wall? So many crystals at once. The energy consumed is not something a human can bear. Nothing is impossible. It's just that weakness limits your imagination. Moreover, we have long transcended the limitations of our own bodies. Don't compare weak people with us gods. An old voice appeared directly behind him, which scared King Gaiu a lot. King Gaiu took several steps back, trying to stay away from the weird old man. Who are you? You didn't follow me just now. Yes, that's the expression. The old man seemed to enjoy it. I haven't seen the expressions of fear on the faces of you mortals for a long time. It's been thousands of years in this desolate world. Without the replenishment of spiritual power and herbs, my injuries can't be healed. I've been here for thousands of years. As he spoke, the old man's figure disappeared again and appeared directly in front of King Gaiu. You can't escape. No matter where you run, I can find you. The old man's voice gradually changed. At the same time, King Gaiu's inner fear was infinitely magnified, making it difficult for him to raise his fighting spirit. Then the old man's figure began to grow. Now, if you don't want to die, answer my question, mortal. King Gaiu shouted with all his last strength. I'm not a human, I'm a Killin. Hearing this, the old man's face suddenly changed. This child, could it be a Killin monster? In his world, he can easily confirm that the other party is not lying. It doesn't matter to him whether this child is a Killin or not. What matters is that this guy is a demon. Impossible. If you are a Killin, why can't I feel a trace of demonic energy? With your ability, it is impossible to achieve a perfect transformation. The old man's voice was a little exasperated. How could there be a demon in this world? This does not conform to the rules set by that adult. Seeing him like this, King Gaiu couldn't help but feel a little happy. Lululu, I just won't tell you. You old man will be mad to death. As soon as the voice fell, a palm passed through King Gaiu's chest. The huge pain instantly overwhelmed his mind and made him begin to trance. Although the scene was a little scary, no drop of blood flowed during the whole process, as if he had just passed through a projection. The old man slowly twisted his hand a few times to increase the pain. Tell me, how did you do it? King Gaiu looked at the cloak on his body in disbelief. Why did this magic device have no defensive effect? Did the protective function of this cloak fail? As for what the old man said, King Gaiu automatically ignored it. He didn't want to listen to this person, not to mention when he was so uncomfortable. Seeing that the child was so stubborn, he pulled out his hand. If you don't say anything, then I will come in and find it myself. The mental power forcibly invaded King Gaiu's sea of consciousness, trying to find the answer to the question and their origins from his mind. The soul-searching technique can be easily done, as long as the mental power is sufficient. His soul easily entered the other party's soul, and planned to go directly to the place where the memory was. But not long after he went deep, a magic circle suddenly appeared in King Gaiu's soul, covering his soul in it. What is this? He opened his eyes wide and looked at this complicated magic circle in disbelief. This was beyond his understanding. At the same time, the necklace on his body emitted a bright light, and then a strong mental power hit his soul body, forcibly knocking him out of King Gaiu's sea of consciousness. Forcibly invading someone else's sea of consciousness is a high-risk thing, and a situation like this being backfired is extremely serious. The old man who was forcibly shaken out of his sea of consciousness spit out a mouthful of blood. The backlash just now caused his soul to be severely damaged. Even the surrounding world shook, as if it had also been seriously damaged. The god who had exited King Gaiu's sea of consciousness immediately began to stabilize his soul state. Damn, what exactly is that power? The backlash just now not only shook off a lot of his mental power, but also hurt his soul. I don't know how long he will have to recuperate this time. If it weren't for the soul pendant he had been wearing, he would have been lying on the ground unable to get up, even if he didn't die. Seeing him so miserable, King Gaiu, who was originally groggy, laughed again. Haha, it seems that you are not that powerful. He didn't know that the old man had left a backup plan for him, but when he failed to invade the sea of consciousness, he suffered a backlash. Shut up. The old man slapped him in the face, without any concern that he was a child. Since there is no way to search your soul forcibly, then I have to find a way to make you tell it yourself. Anyway, in this spiritual space constructed by me, I have plenty of ways. The old man wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. This is the spiritual space constructed by me. I'm the master here. I have plenty of cruel punishments here, and you don't have to expect others to save you. The speed of time here is different from that outside. You'd better be sensible. I will give you a quick death. Bah. King Gaiu spat in his face, which showed his attitude. He would never compromise with people he disliked. The old man controlled his saliva with disgust and threw it aside. I didn't expect that after so long. You demons still haven't been able to change these vulgar habits. Then he flexed his fingers. Very good, but I already know your attitude. Then he showed a morbid smile. I always keep my words. If you are willing to say it, I will let you go. But I hope that you can hold on a little longer. You know, I'm in charge of criminal law in the temple. For endless years, my greatest pleasure is to see people's painful expressions. After so many years of silence, I'm almost going crazy. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 486, Izumishin and Madison. At this time, Chumushin, who had just arrived in space by driving a spaceship, suddenly felt a mental shock, and then cast his eyes to the source of mental power, the moon. What's going on? Why is there such a strong mental power over there? Is there an enemy invasion? Or is Yu and Nazi there? Chumushin hesitated for a while, and then decided to drive the spaceship to the source of the mental power, intending to go to the moon to find out. Because he had heard from the full moon priest that the magic circle on the moon was the foundation of the confrontation between humans and demons, so he was still quite concerned about what happened here. What's more, he had been late for such a long time, and a few minutes later would not delay anything. With the full operation of the spaceship, it took only a few minutes for him to reach the back of the moon, and then he saw a scene that made him furious. The old man threw a child on the ground, stepped on his chest and abdomen with his feet, and kept cursing, as if he had some deep hatred with the other party. After seeing this, Demoshin drove the spaceship towards him without hesitation. Stop it. What did he do wrong to treat a child like this? The old man below immediately sensed the danger and mobilized his mental power to form a barrier, trying to block this desperate attack. The spaceship made of special alloy hit the mental barrier, and under the action of huge force, both sides began to deform at the same time, and there was a faint sound of collapse. But Demoshin did not feel any heartache. Compared with the spaceship he had worked so hard to make, the life of the child below was obviously more important. If the spaceship was gone, it could be remade, but if the person died, there was no way to save him. Thinking of this, he immediately adjusted his thruster power to the maximum and began to wrestle with the old man's mind. But what Demoshin did not expect was that although the old man was seriously injured, his mental power was still strong, and he gradually pushed Zyadishin's spaceship back. As the strength of both sides continued to increase, the head of the spaceship began to deform and made a sound of being unable to bear the weight. Although I don't know what you are, but if you attack me, Madison, you will die here. After saying that, he pushed hard with both hands, and Dekisugi's spaceship could no longer bear it and exploded directly. Dekisugi had already prepared for it. At the moment the spaceship exploded, he took out Dekisugi from his soul. With a knife, he easily cut through the metal blocking the road in front of him, and Zyashin jumped out of the cockpit directly, aiming the back of the knife at the opponent's head. He didn't plan to kill the opponent directly at the moment. After all, the opponent was an old man. In his subconscious, he thought that the opponent was an old man and should not be guilty of death. And the child below was not sure whether he was dead or not, so he made this decision. The old man's body suddenly began to extend, and he used his mental power to twist and stretch his body, avoiding the back of the knife. Then he immediately ran away, keeping a certain distance from Dekisugi, so as not to be hit by the suspected warrior again. The old man pointed at him with a dry finger. Who are you? Are you an accomplice of this child? Zyashin ignored what the old man said and used his mental power to check the child on the ground. When he saw King Gaiu's face clearly, he was stunned for a moment, and then his anger could not be stopped. The person who was beaten was King Gaiu? Where is that bastard Yu and Daisuke? As his guardian, King Gaiu suffered such a serious injury, he must take the main responsibility. However, Chumashin suppressed his anger first. He continued to check King Gaiu's physical condition, and then his heart sank to the bottom. Now King Gaiu's vital signs have begun to disappear rapidly, and as a living being, the most important difference from an object, the soul, has also completely dissipated. You bastard. Chumashin could no longer bear the anger, picked up and gang, and slashed at the opposite side of the Mason. Although King Gaiu was not picked up by him personally, he actually always regarded him as his younger brother in his heart. How could he not be angry? The old man on the opposite side stopped talking and directly opened his mental power, trying to pull Chumashin into his mental space. Just now, he used this move to directly control King Gaiu. Whether it was the demon clan or the cloak on his body, the ability to protect the spirit was not particularly strong, so he could win with one blow. But in the process of approaching, Zyashin noticed the abnormal mental power around him and directly bounced it away with his own mental power. Damn, this guy's also a telekinetic master? It's really unlucky it happened at this time. After feeling this scene, Madison also frowned. Now his soul was seriously injured by the unknown soul, and his mental power was greatly damaged. It was not suitable to fight with someone who was also a telekinetic master. But the good news is that this guy's strength seems to be much weaker than his, and his realm has not reached his level, so he can still deal with it for the time being. You dared to kill King Gaiu. I must make you pay with your life today. You must die here. Chumashin swore that this was the first time, since he was born, that he wanted someone to die in front of him so much. The white blade kept cutting off the opponent's spiritual power, and he could clearly feel that the opponent was constantly being weakened. So Chumashin directly abandoned all defenses and attacked with all his strength, trying to kill him here. Damn it, why did you fight me? Just because of that killing? Because of that damn demon clan? Aren't you humans at odds with the demon clan? Madison kept trying to persuade Zyashin to give up being his enemy, and it would be even better if they could become allies. He felt that the other party should not know the situation of the demon clan, so he decided to make it clear to Chumashin first, so that he and he would stand on the same front. The demon clan is our common enemy, and we should join forces to deal with them. You know, the adult who created the world you live in and created you was killed by the demon clan. Your creator died at the hands of the demon clan. Do you still sympathize with that damn thing? Although he said a lot with emotion, the blade in Chumashin's hand did not stop at all, and the frequency of attack gradually increased. This guy said so much, but Chumashin didn't care at all, not because he felt that what the other party said was unreasonable. In fact, the main reason is that they don't speak the same language, so Zyashin didn't understand a word of what was said just now. This language is the language of the ancient gods. Chumashin doesn't know this kind of knowledge, so it's like listening to a book from heaven. King Gaiu doesn't know this kind of language either, but he ate the translation konjac, and its effect is still there, so naturally he can understand what he means, and the other party can also understand what he means. So this also makes Manison speak with his mouth subconsciously, instead of communicating directly at the spiritual level. Of course, even if he uses the spirit to transmit the message, Chumashin probably won't receive it. In addition, Chumashin was already angry at this time, and the person in front of him said a lot of nonsense, which only made him more irritable, and made him want to kill this old man even more. Seeing that this guy can run so fast, Zyadishin took back Gang, and made a starting move, the fourth move of the Kangyu sword technique, floating lights and shadows. As he spoke, Chumashin's figure disappeared from the spot, and at this moment even the old man's mental power could not capture his true body. Damn it, whose disciple is this guy? Why does he know such a trick? And why would this spiritualist go to learn swordsmanship? At this moment, he suddenly felt a sense of alarm, and dodged to the side. A white light flashed by and a blood mark appeared on his body. While they were all focusing on each other, the gem of the Dark Star cloak flashed a light, and the black mist gradually enveloped King Gaiu's body. After a while, King Gaiu's body disappeared, and the two continued to fight. Chapter 487, Losing Streak. Manison looked at his chest. Just now, Chumashin had left a cut on his chest with his sword, but it was not a fatal injury. He did not panic, and calmly used his mental power to create a barrier in front of him to isolate Chumashin's attack. In a few seconds, Chumashin had to exit the state of super speed movement, and appeared in front of him again. This old man must die today no matter what, otherwise I won't be able to see him after I die. Zyadishin clenched Gang in his hand, ready to give him a fatal blow, and make him pay for his actions. Manison still wanted to try to reconcile, but for various reasons, this matter could not go as he wished. Seeing that the other party did not move, Chumashin planned to take the initiative, and stabbed Gang into the ground with force. He pulled from below, and the sharp sword energy cut through the surface crystals of the ground, and slashed towards Manison. The current situation is hopeless to reconcile, and Manison simply put him on the same level as King Gaiu, intending to destroy him here together. Anyway, he is just an ordinary person, and one more death is no big deal. I have given you chances again and again. Since you don't plan to live in peace, then go to hell. The mental power swept out, and the powerful mental power of Manison easily broke the several meter thick crystal layer. Even the planet under the ground was lifted up, which was enough to show how terrifying his strength was. When the sword energy and the mental shock collided, it was like a boat hit by a huge wave, and was destroyed without any resistance. After the mental shock shattered the sword energy, it seemed to be unaffected and still flew towards Izuki. He was also unwilling to be outdone. Everyone was a mentalist, how could he retreat in this regard? So he simply released his frenzied mental power, and the two mental shocks collided with each other. Boom. With a loud bang, a canyon was directly cracked where the two mental powers collided, and crystal fragments and dust covered most of the battlefield. Although the smoke blocked the view, this obstacle was not a problem for the mentalist. Chumashin also put away Gang. Now Gang has not yet perfectly merged with his soul. Using the two at the same time will cause his mental power to decay. Moreover, he has not used his full strength since he realized that realm last time, so he is not sure where his limit is. This time, he wants to see where the gap between him and this mentalist is. Chumashin stomped his feet hard, and his mental power shook the crystal below, rolled up the fragments, and threw them towards the position of the smoke opposite to the memory of Manison. He did not stop after the crystal fragments flew out. Whether the previous attack hit or not, it would expose his position. Sure enough, there was a sound of crystal collision from the opposite side, and then a large number of crystals flew towards the place where Zyadishin just stood. Zyadishin finally stood firm, and the smoke in the middle suddenly began to gather, and turned into countless spears, and at the same time completely opened up his vision. When the two mentalists fought, they tacitly did not release their mental power to explore the other party's position. This is for their own safety, and if the opponent has any curse or something directly targeting mental power, it will be dangerous. After gaining vision, the dust spear went towards Zyadishin's position, trying to nail him directly into the crystal zone. Chumashin stretched out his hand and raised it upwards. The crystal below was twisted and deformed by his will, and a barrier appeared in front of him. The dust spear stabbed in front of the barrier mercilessly, leaving several holes in the crystal, but it was still stuck in the crystal by Chumashin. Just as Chumashin was about to fight back, several crystal spikes suddenly extended from the crystal surface behind him, going straight for his heart. Xiaoshin's mental power noticed all this, and he was a little confused. How did this guy pass through his mental power barrier to control the crystal? His mental power has been exploring the situation nearby. The other party can't extend his mental power behind him without knowing it. But now is not the time to think so much. He directly released his mental power and blocked this fatal blow on his back. Just when he was relieved and ready to move, his feet suddenly softened and one foot suddenly sank into the crystal. What's going on? Obviously there is no spiritual power here. Why can he manipulate the environment around me? After Xiaoshin fell into the trap, he immediately began to think about the reason, but no matter how he searched, he just couldn't find the other party's spiritual power and expel it. Damn it. Unable to find the other party's spiritual power, he had to extend his spiritual power into the crystal, trying to force the crystal to let go of his feet. Soon, he felt a strong but strange repulsive force, which blocked his will and made him unable to manipulate the crystal. This feeling is very strange, just like an item that usually has no will suddenly refuses your use. Seeing that he was hit, a strange mark appeared on the forehead of Manison in the distance. He had adjusted his spiritual power to the peak. At this time, a spiritual power appeared in his ear. Although you seem to have touched the threshold of transcendence, you don't seem to have fully understood this realm. This time it was a spiritual power exchange, and Xiaoshin understood it. His realm was half a level lower than the other party. Although this half step seems to be a small gap, it is now the distance between life and death. After Manison's mental power reached its peak, he aimed at Dekisugi, who was unable to move in front of him. Now, you die. He poured out most of his remaining mental power, and any matter that blocked this power was absorbed to further expand the destructive power of the storm. Dekisugi watched the terrifying storm with his eyes wide open, and could only release all his mental power, forming a barrier in front of him to make a dying struggle. The mental storm collided with the mental barrier, and after a stalemate of a few seconds, the storm tore through the invisible wall in front of him, and fell on Dekisugi. The necklace given to him by Yu and as he played a role again, and for the last time, and the invisible air barrier briefly blocked the storm. The necklace on his chest completed its last mission, and the magic stone exploded. This magic device, that had been with him for more than half a year, finally became completely ineffective. But he was no longer in the mood to feel heartbroken. Dekisugi, who had lost his last means of defense, would use his body to directly face this terrifying power. The mental storm swept through his body, and all the bones in his body were broken into several sections at this moment, and his internal organs were also greatly impacted. At the same time, the crystal layer under his feet had completely disappeared, smashed into pieces by the mental storm just now, making his body dance in the wind, like catkins in the wind. After a while, Chumashin's body fell to the ground, and the surrounding crystal ground was slowly stained red with blood. Chumashin opened his eyes with force. Is this the so-called God clan? The strength is so terrifying. Manison controlled his body and slowly fell from the air in front of him, gasping for breath. Finally, I got rid of this guy, who made me a god. So embarrassed. The action just now not only consumed his few mental powers, but also caused a serious loss of his physical strength. Manipulating powerful mental power is also a great burden on the body, and his old injury has not healed, and the action just now made it worse. Then he spit out another mouthful of blood, knelt on one knee on the ground, and then saw Chumashin's chest still rising and falling slightly. Damn, this guy's really lucky. He didn't die, even after being beaten like this. If it weren't for the little thing on his body that blocked it, there would be no need to bother. After taking a look at the environment around Dekisugi, Manison suddenly showed a cold smile, and his mental power extended to the bottom of the crystal layer. The crystal around Dekisugi suddenly changed. The old man wanted to seal him in the crystal, intending to let him slowly experience the approach of death in it. The surrounding crystal seemed to melt and rippled. Dekisugi's body slowly sank into the crystal, becoming a landscape in the crystal. After taking a look at the dying Dekisugi, Manison shifted his attention away. This guy had no chance of turning the tables. Then he used his remaining mental power to grab the pieces of magic stone. It's really unexpected that there are still magic stones here. After looking at it for a few times, He threw the fragments away. It's a pity that the quality is not very high, and it is useless now. Chapter 488, Surpassing Yourself. When Izuki was surrounded by crystals, he felt the strong magic power in the crystals around him, as well as the pain of losing his breath. TSK, so I can feel magic power too. The senior said I didn't have the qualifications to practice magic, but now it seems that he misjudged me. Now he can feel his soul gradually leaving his body, but his mood has become calmer than ever before. A dying person has nothing in his heart that he can't let go of. He has lived a smooth and rich life. He has been to outer space and seen alien life, ancient ruins, and creatures that have never been found on Earth. His life has been more exciting than most people. It's a pity for King Gyu. In the end, I still couldn't avenge him. I'm really sorry. Gian and Azuki, the rest of the things are all up to you. His eyes that were open began to close slowly, and his soul had dispersed and gradually merged into this ancient land. Mason felt his soul gradually dissipating, retracted his mental power, and then sat down on the spot, ready to recover from the injury to his soul. He was severely injured by the mysterious power of the child before, and then he forcibly stimulated his own mental power. His current state is not very good. If there is no air here now, he may suffocate in the starry sky because of the exhaustion of mental power. Anyway, all the creatures here have been cleared by him now, and there is no threat to him anymore, so Manison directly chose to enter deep recovery. He couldn't help but recover quickly. Now he still has a task given to him by the Sun God to complete, otherwise he will have a hard time when he returns. Originally, after leaving his body and escaping into the crystal, Izuka's soul was rejected by another will and was about to completely dissipate because of the loss of its sustenance. But at this moment, the will that occupied the crystal suddenly withdrew, so Izuka's soul temporarily avoided the danger of dissipation. When he regained his self-consciousness again, he looked at his body that was gradually losing temperature and felt very strange. What's going on? Am I not dead? Now he found that he seemed to have become this piece of crystal condensed by magic power, and his strange mood gradually turned into joy. So, am I still alive now? Then can I still use my power? Xiaoshin quietly mobilized the magic crystals around him and easily changed the state of the surrounding crystals. It was very different from the feeling of forcibly invading with his own will before. What he learned from his grandfather before was to use his will to perceive the surrounding environment and then inject mental power to change the state of the environment. When he used that ability, he had to fight against the power of the object itself to change its form. But now it is completely different. Now he does not feel a trace of repulsion, but feels that it is a very easy thing to do. If the realm he felt before was moving things, then he feels now as if he has become an object and is walking actively. He now sees his body without any strange feeling, as if that thing has nothing to do with him at all. Could it be that this is the real transcendent state? Only by completely transcending your own body can you be transcendent. At this moment, he understood why he could not feel the other party manipulating the crystal at all. Manison had turned this piece of crystal into a part of his body, and the resistance he encountered when he wanted to manipulate the crystal before was Manison's own will. His actions just now were like forcibly snatching the right to use the body from others. If the mental powers of both parties were similar, it would be impossible to succeed. After figuring out all this, he immediately manipulated the crystals here and began to draw the magic power nearby. He had seen Yu and Dazi perform magic many times, and he remembered the magic power running track of the healing spell very clearly. The magic practiced by Yu and Dazi and the spiritualist of Chumushin originally had something in common, but he had always been troubled by his inability to mobilize magic power, so he could only sigh in despair for magic. But now it was different. His body was made up of pure magic power, and these magic powers would soon be available for him to control, so he should be able to use healing spells. Soon, he operated his own magic power according to the usual magic power running track of Yu and Dazuki, but the magic suddenly turned into a ball of light and dispersed. What's going on? Chumushin looked at the light spot in his hand. He didn't know why his magic failed. Forget it, since magic doesn't work, let's just follow my old method. The mental power entered his body, glued the originally broken bones together, and simply treated the bleeding internal organs. Soon, the dead body looked brand new, at least it was no longer dead. Seeing that the body had almost recovered, Zayanishin breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he died not long ago, otherwise there would be no way to save him. The body had begun to recover gradually, and Chumashin cast his eyes on the recovering Madison. Since he was still alive, King Guyu's revenge would naturally be his, so why leave it to that guy Yu, and as he actually let King Guyu suffer such harm? When he comes back, I must teach him a lesson. After making up his mind, Chumashin slowly floated towards Madison's position, ready to take this opportunity to attack. But Madison, who was recovering, suddenly felt a palpitation, always feeling that something with great malice was approaching. So he withdrew from the recovery state, released his mental power, and began to search the surroundings. But the situation here was still the same as before. No one approached, and the child's soul had dissipated. Just as he was ready to continue meditating, there was a very subtle vibration from the ground, which instantly made him alert. What is that? No. He immediately flew up, and countless spikes appeared on the ground at this moment, almost piercing him into a skewer. You actually discovered this? You are really worthy of being a senior. Whether it is alertness or reaction speed, it is not comparable to ordinary people. Zayanishin's voice appeared in his ears. There was no obstacle in the communication of mental power, and he could understand the other party's words. Because he had been defeated by this old man before, even if the two had different positions, he was convinced by calling him senior. Madison was a little annoyed. You actually realize the true transcendence in despair? I should have killed you directly. As he spoke, the crystal layer below suddenly began to extend upwards, and a crystal giant gradually took shape, looking straight at Madison. Yes, you should pay the price for your carelessness and cruelty. Now Chumashin decided to kill with one blow, and not give the other party any chance to breathe. The opponent's hard power is still stronger than Chumashin. If he is allowed to recover, failure will only happen again. Moreover, Chumashin found that his soul was still dissipating at a slow speed. After all, it was not his body, so he could not stop the process. The huge crystal fist went straight to Madison's face. The old man wanted to escape with his mental power, but Chumashin's mental power caught up instantly and grabbed his ankle. Damn it. He still has the strength to hold me in this state. Madison was shocked and angry. Now both sides have very little mental power left. He didn't expect that Chumashin could control the giant while restraining him. In desperation, Madison had to use most of his mental power to form a barrier in front of him, ready to withstand the punch. But the seemingly fierce fist hit the barrier, but he felt like he was hit by cotton. Nothing happened at all. On the other hand, the crystal giant shattered itself after hitting the barrier. The deformed crystal had no mental power to support it, but it was even more unbearable than before. Madison was stunned for a moment, then laughed wildly. I knew that if you wanted to control the giant, to attack with all its strength, you wouldn't be able to spare any mental power. Yes, the less power we mental practitioners have, the more difficult it is to pay attention to multiple targets, because mental power is, in a sense, the strength of the soul. Every time I think of this, I envy you and Daisuke, who won't let his sanity decrease due to energy consumption. But I will be restricted by this, and so will you. Chumashin said slowly, so the giant's attack is just a cover, an illusion to let you transfer your mental power away from your body. My real purpose is to send my mental power into your body. There was still no urgency in his voice, but Madison felt something was wrong. Wait, what did you say? What did you do? When you release your mental power to form a barrier, your little sanity will be concentrated outside your body, and this is my chance. Fear gradually appeared in Madison's eyes. He had already felt the abnormality in his body, but it was too late to take back his mental power now. At this time, Izuku's spiritual power had already climbed onto his heart, and he said the last words. Then now, please die. Chapter 489 encountered a fake. Gian, and as he spent more than half an hour flying to the vicinity of the moon, took out the silver dart, and prepared to shoot directly at the enemy's heart. The old man hit him as usual. Humph, I'm not saying anything bad about you, but you can't even hit such a big target. Ah, who are you looking down on? He immediately retorted. Although his shooting skills were not very good, it was too embarrassing to miss this. After saying that, Yu and as he threw the silver dart in his hand with force, a silver light path appeared in space, overlapping with the trajectory of the blood-red moon. Who knew that, when it was about to hit the moon suddenly made a beautiful arc in the air and dodged. Haha, I knew you would definitely miss it. Seeing that Yu and as he threw it wrong, the old man was very happy. Fighting with this kid was his daily life fun. Daisy continued to fly forward silently. In the face of the ironclad facts, he had no way to deny it. Who knew that the moon would drift? At this time, they didn't have too much to worry about, because he still had 2 silver darts left in his hand, and it was basically impossible to fail. Soon, they landed on the moon, and Yu and Daisy took out a silver dart again. Let's see how you can hide this time. After that, Yu and Daisy threw the weapon to the ground, intending to kill the opponent directly. This time the silver dart did hit, but unexpectedly, the dart did not penetrate into the heart as they expected, but was bounced off by the bloody ground. Seeing this scene, Yu and Daisy was stunned. Why is this different from the original book? Shouldn't shooting this silver dart into the heart kill it? The old man was quick-witted and immediately used his mental power to roll up the silver dart to prevent it from flying away. Now there is 1 less silver dart, and they only have 2 chances left, so they can't waste it casually. Taking the weapon handed over by the old man, Daisy stomped on the ground slightly, and the touch was still very soft, just like human skin. That's right, this should be the heart of the big devil. Even the touch is exactly the same as a human body. Yu and Daisy picked up the silver dart again. Maybe it's just that the skin is too hard. How about I increase my strength this time? The old man didn't have any good solution for this. He could only attribute the reason for not inserting it to his lack of strength, so he agreed. He was seen holding the dart in his right hand, and his right foot took a step back at the same time, his whole body tense, ready to exert force at any time. Then the 3rd level strange power technique was added, and his physical strength was increased by several levels again, which gave him sufficient confidence this time. Then he chose a place that looked like a crack, and threw the dart with all his strength. Physical technique, throwing stars. The silver light hit the crack accurately. In the expectant eyes of 1 person and 1 monument, the silver dart tried hard to persist for half a second, and then turned into silver debris flying all over the sky. Seeing this scene, Yu and Daisy silently wiped his cold sweat. How can people play like this? Wasn't it very easy to break through the defense in the original book? After a period of silence, the old man said, think about the plot in the original book again. Maybe you missed some necessary conditions. Hearing him say this, Yu and Daisy simply found a place to sit down and began to look for the answer in his memory. Let me think about it. At that time, the silver dart seemed to be magnified by someone using a magnifying lamp. Could this be the reason? After thinking for a long time, Yu and Daisy still felt that this possibility was the greatest, so he decided to give it a try. Anyway, he had already learned how to enlarge objects with magic, so he was not incapable of doing this. A strange magic power hit the silver dart, and the spell began to take effect slowly. After a few minutes, the silver dart became taller than Yu and Daisy. He picked up the dart with a little effort, muttering silently, "This is my last silver dart. This operation must be successful, or we will die." Then Yu and Daisy held the silver dart and soared into the sky. With the help of the gravity of the heart, Yu and Daisy smashed the dart heavily on the surface of the moon. Crack. A crisp sound rang out, and the silver dart in Yu and Daisy's hand broke into 6 pieces at this moment. It was obviously impossible to repair it. Seeing this scene, Yu and Daisy stood there for a long time, and then he smashed the fragments in his hand on the ground with an expressionless face. What a piece of shit. Is this the thing that the great magician came up with to save the world? Did you buy it on Bingzixi? Or has it expired after thousands of years? Yu and Daisy, who was furious, stepped on the fragments frantically on the moon to vent his inner dissatisfaction. Damn it, now I don't have any silver darts in my hand. How can I save the world? The old man's indifferent voice came. Don't worry, I seem to have found some reasons just now. He kicked the fragments on the ground away. Then you tell me, I want to see why I can't do it. In the collision just now, I felt the collision of 2 wills in them. And the will inside this moon seems to be much stronger than the will of the silver dart in your hand. so it can't be inserted into the core of the moon. As for the movie plot, you remember, it should be that the magnifying lamp strengthened the will in the silver dart, so it broke through its defense. And as he still didn't believe it, but my spell is a complete copy of the magnifying lamp. If the magnifying lamp is effective, then my magic must be effective too. After that, both sides were silent for a while again, and the old man said, "Why don't you think about it again? I don't remember it very clearly. I just remember that it was the magnifying lamp used by Doremi, and then it was no different from what I did." "Doremi? Who is that? Why don't I seem to have seen the person you are talking about? Have you forgotten that last time we met that yellow robot at Nobita's house, you secretly tampered with her memory?" Speaking of this, the soul-eating monument immediately remembered. "So you were talking about her, then I should have guessed the reason. I have said before that your duel actually determines which world will be swallowed, and the will in the dart is the will of the world. The dart you are holding now carries the will of the world you are currently in, but it is now at a disadvantage, and naturally cannot break through the full defense of the Demon Star world. But Doremi has the will of the future world. If I guessed correctly, she should have used a magnifying glass to inject the will of the future world into the silver dart. If these two worlds join forces, even this Demon Star will be completely unable to resist, and will naturally be disintegrated, and then torn and swallowed by them." And as he lowered his head helplessly, "So according to what you said, I have to wait for Doremi to come? Then what's the point of me coming here? Don't be so depressed, you still have many tasks to do, such as preventing those little guys from being eaten by the devil. There is no halo of the protagonist here now. Maybe the devil can't kill them, but they are likely to die at the hands of unknown devils." And as he finally accepted the reality and stood up, intending to go back to the flying carpet to make a long-term plan. At this time, the soul-devouring monument suddenly shouted, "Oh no, something seems to have happened to King Gaiu." Chapter 490. There is still a chance. And as he was almost frightened to death by this yell, and wanted to get angry, but when he heard the news about King Gaiu, he quickly suppressed his anger. What's going on? If the plot goes as it should, King Gaiu should still be playing cards on the moon, right? I specially stuffed 2 decks of playing cards into my cloak. I don't know either, but just now, the soul mark that I had left in King Gaiu's Sea of Consciousness was triggered by someone. It seems that someone forcibly invaded his Sea of Consciousness and wanted to read his memory. And as he also became serious in an instant, "It's impossible. There are not many people on Earth who have the ability to invade King Gaiu. Even the full moon priest doesn't have that ability. At least, I only know that Junfei can do it." The old man immediately denied him. "No, based on the soul fluctuations transmitted back by the soul mark, I can confirm that it is not Chumushin, and the soul strength of that child is not that strong. Although the demon race has not broken the physical restrictions, the soul is weak before the body is fed back, but it should not be easy for others to invade. But I can be sure that the guy will not feel good either. The rebound effect of my soul mark is not vegetarian." And as he thought about it and said, "I'd better go back to save him quickly. If something really happens, I will definitely regret my decision." Then and as he immediately took out the Archangel staff and prepared to use the magic wand he had just obtained as a mount to fly directly back to the moon. "No, you don't have to go now." The old man's tone suddenly became extremely calm, "because there is no need to go now." "What's wrong? Did King Gaiu awaken his potential and kill the opponent directly, or did your soul mark kill the opponent?" Although he said it lightly and happily, and as he felt uneasy in his heart, judging from the other party's tone, it didn't seem to be a good thing. The old man didn't answer, and the scene became quiet, allowing and as he to clearly hear his heartbeat speeding up. Because he had now thought of a possibility, a reality he didn't want to face, which made him feel scared. King Gaiu won't die. This is the worst possibility, but it is also the possibility closest to reality. Since someone has forcibly invaded his Sea of Consciousness, the possibility of escaping from the other party is indeed very small, even if the other party is counterattacked. That's right. I can clearly sense King Gaiu's life fire, and it's extinguished now. The old man's words dealt him a huge blow. His legs softened, and he sat directly on the bloody heart. "Isn't it possible? We've only been apart for less than a day." He was still acting like a spoiled child with me before. How could he die? He felt a little difficult to breathe. He was in a place full of air, but it seemed like he was at the bottom of the sea. It seemed that living was torture. Now he regretted his previous decision very much. If King Gaiu had followed him, this would not have happened. Although he was also considering the safety of the world, he never thought of sacrificing others to defend the moon and the world. The old man did not stop him from venting his anger, although he also knew that Yu and Daz's doing this would not benefit him in any way. At this time, he was also very sad. This was the only bloodline of his demon clan. Was it cut off like this? What made him even more confused was, what on earth had happened to this child? Who else in the world could do this? The soul-devouring monument couldn't understand. There were no strong people in this world. Judging from the strength of Medusa, no one in the demon clan could do this, except the Demon King. But the Demon King couldn't leave here and go to the moon, unless this mysterious power did not come from these two world fragments. Yu and as he clenched his fists and swore in his heart, no matter who killed King Gaiu, he would do everything to avenge him. At this time, the two of them were desperate and had completely forgotten the people on the magic carpet over there. They didn't even know that they had been sucked into the Demon World Star. Even if the magic carpet didn't move, the Demon World Star was constantly moving towards the earth, which meant that they were destined to be sucked in. When Yu and as he was about to fly back to find the murderer, he suddenly received a message from the Dark Star Cloak. What did you say? You are rushing towards us with King Gaiu's body, and let us wait for you here? After knowing this, Yu and as he simply sat on the ground and began to meditate to restore his magic and mental strength, quietly waiting for the arrival of the Dark Star Cloak. More than 2 hours later, Yu and as he had recovered to his prime, and the cloak appeared in front of them as promised. The cloak was no longer what it once was, but had become a long piece of cloth that tightly wrapped King Gaiu's body. The cloak landed on the moon's ground, and the strips of cloth on top were removed one by one, revealing King Gaiu inside. He still looked the same as when he left, and if he hadn't lost his breath, they would have thought he was just asleep. After completing his mission, the cloak flew into Yu and Daz's hands. After flying such a long distance, he also needed time to replenish his lost magic power. How did he die? Can you find out? Yu and as he picked up King Gaiu, touched his forehead and asked sternly. After carefully feeling it for a while, the soul-devouring monument said, although the soul has completely dissipated, I can be sure that it is a wound on the soul. And my mark was triggered by someone before. I can be sure that the other party is a master of mental power. At this time, the cloak sent another message. Manison, mentalist, kill King Gaiu, Chumushin, fight. The meaning of these simple words has been understood, and now he is a little worried about Chumushin's safety. No, I have to go back and take a look. Yu and as he stood up and prepared to go to the earth to find that Manison. Now that one of his people has been sacrificed, he doesn't want Chumushin to die at the hands of the other party. The old man said before that Chumushin's soul strength is not as strong as the other party, and forcing a fight is more likely to be dangerous. But the old man stopped him. Don't leave in a hurry. More than 2 hours have passed. You can't change anything if you go. But King Gaiu can still be saved. How is it possible? Isn't King Gaiu dead? How can he be saved? Can you bring his scattered soul back? I can't do it. The old man's spirit appeared in front of him, poking his chest with his fingers. But you can. Me. Yu and as he pointed at his chin. He couldn't figure out how he could save a dead person. Old Manling looked at him seriously. Yes, you can turn back time, and now the time he has been dead has not exceeded your limit. Yu and as he suddenly realized that if he turned back time to save people, it seemed that he could really do it. The old man also felt a little relieved. Fortunately, the cloak sent King Gaiu's body here. With your current state in your prime, it should be no problem to go back 3 hours. And as he immediately put him gently on the ground, then took out the Archangel's staff and used the staff to use magic to activate the law of the past on his seal. The blood-red clock shadow appeared behind King Gaiu. And as he pointed the hour hand with his magic wand and began to turn it back. As the pointer turned back, his magic began to drain rapidly, and he was also under great pressure. All those who try to reverse time and revive others will be punished by time, and he is no exception. And the more time he reverses, the greater the punishment he will receive. When the hour hand passed the first hour, King Ayu's body did not change at all, and Yu and Dazi continued to use magic to push the hour hand. This time, both the pressure and the speed of magic consumption were more than doubled than before. Yu and Dazi gritted his teeth and pushed the hour hand hard to the second grid. Chapter 491 Eastern. When the clock behind King Ayu finished the second grid, Yu and Dazi's head was covered with sweat. At this time, the energy of his 4 talismans had been consumed. He realized at this time that the time of reversing life was much greater than the consumption of restoring objects. However, Yu and Dazi did not mean to stop at all and continued to urge the clock to reverse. Now it depends on whether his magic power can support King Ayu's wake up. When the time was reversed for nearly 3 hours, Yu and Dazi only had one last talisman left. As the soul-devouring monument said, his limit was at most 3 hours. However, the soul-devouring monument suddenly told him a good news. He had sensed that King Ayu's soul fragments began to return, and it was about to succeed. After knowing this news, Yu and Dazi put more force on his hand and accelerated the speed of the clock reversal again. At this moment, King Ayu's eyes suddenly opened, and Yu and Dazi instantly withdrew his magic, knelt on one knee, and gasped on the ground. The more than 10 seconds of resurrection time just now consumed the energy of more than 8 talismans. Time magic is indeed not something that can be easily involved. King Ayu sat up and looked at the surroundings. He was still a little dazed and had forgotten some of his experiences. What's going on? I remember I was fighting with an old man just now. Where is this place? Then he saw Yu and Dazi kneeling on the ground and adjusting his breath with his staff. He immediately ran to him and asked, "Brother, why are you here?" Yu and Dazi adjusted his breathing and asked, "Do you remember what happened over there just now?" "It was on the moon. Let me think." King Ayu looked at the sky and thought for a while, then shook his head. "I only remember meeting an old man, and then I had a fight with him, and then I came here." Hearing this, Yu and Dazi breathed a sigh of relief. It was better that he didn't remember it, so he wouldn't feel too guilty. "I just didn't know how Xiaoshan was doing now." Just when Yu and Dazi was about to say something else, a rough voice suddenly came from the side. "Have you two finished talking?" The two of them were so scared that their hearts stopped for a moment. Someone actually came behind them quietly, and the old man didn't give him any warning at this time. Then a candidate appeared in Yu and Dazi's mind, the master of the Demon World Star, Dima Wang. Otherwise he couldn't think of any other possibility. In his impression, only Dima Wang should be able to do this. Moreover, Yu and Dazi's condition is extremely bad now, and he may not be able to cast the moonlight magic a few times. King Ayu, this child, is also impossible to be Dima Wang's opponent. If they start fighting, the possibility of their loss is very high. Yu and Dazi slowly stood up and turned to face the Demon King behind him. If possible, at least King Ayu must go away. He took great pains to revive this child, not to die here with him. But when he saw the face of the guy behind him clearly, Yu and Dazi was a little confused, because the image of this Dima Wang was too different from the image in the original book. This man is more than 2 meters tall, naked from the upper body, and his skin is densely covered with strange patterns, which looks very scary. If the Dima Wang in the original book is a little taller, but it can still be seen that he is a mage, then this guy is a meat shield warrior. And most importantly, Yu and Dazi did not feel any magical fluctuations on him, so it was basically certain that he was not King Dima. He took a step forward and blocked King Ayu behind him. "Who are you? Why are you behind me?" This question is a bit complicated. Let me think about how to put it. The uncle touched his head and began to organize his words. "My name is Easton. I was ordered to come with my companion Manison to investigate the world fragment over there." As he said that, he pointed in another direction, which was the direction of their main world. And Yu and Dazi immediately caught the keywords in his words. Companion Manison. This means that Easton standing in front of them is the companion of the murderer who killed King Ayu. He subconsciously clenched his fists and wanted to go over and fight him, but reason stopped him from doing so. First of all, the other party did not show obvious hostility, and his strength was unknown, and he was in a bad state, which was not a good thing in a battle. In addition, Kingayu is now alive, so revenge is not the most important thing. They must first make sure that they can continue to live. Easton continued to talk to himself. Then we found that there were two fragments of the world together, so we split up. Mason went to the smaller fragment over there, and I was responsible for the larger fragment that was approaching over there. But this fragment is really far away, and it took me so long to fly. Sigh. After he finished speaking, he paused and began to ask questions. I have told you what you want to know, now it's my turn to ask you. Hearing what he said, Yu and Dazi was stunned, because he didn't expect this guy to say it so straightforwardly. Shouldn't the purpose of the operation be confidential? But he didn't care. Anyway, when he encountered any key information, he just needed to lie. But then Easton shattered his fantasy. Don't try to lie, I can see through other people's lies. Yu and Dazi's first reaction was to disbelieve it. This guy didn't look like a psychic. How could he see through his lies? He must have just said it to scare him not to lie. Soul Devouring Monument said calmly, this guy can indeed tell whether the other party is lying or not. You don't need to question it. How do you know? Do you know this guy? He was instantly shocked. He could actually do it? Then he said to Easton, you can know that I'm not lying. Then how do I know whether you are lying or not? What if you lie to me with a lie? Wouldn't I be at a disadvantage? Don't worry about this. As the god of truth, I absolutely cannot lie. Otherwise, I will lose my divine power and become immortal. Then, ignoring Yu and Dazi's question, he continued, now that I have explained the issue of fairness, it's my turn to ask questions. How did you get this staff in your hand? Yu and Dazi looked at the Archangel's staff and was relieved. If it was a more sensitive issue, then the war would have already begun. This staff? I picked it up from another world fragment. What's wrong? You're not going to say it's yours? Easton shook his head. I'm not sure about this, so I can't make any rash assertions now. Otherwise it would be against my priesthood. Seeing him so knowledgeable, Yu and Dazi breathed a sigh of relief. Well, we should be able to leave now, right? There are companions waiting for me over there. Unfortunately, not now. Easton shook his head. You must leave the staff before you can leave here. Oh, why? Didn't you say you're not sure who this thing belongs to? Yu and Dazi silently pushed Kingayu a little further away, ready to fight at any time. Yes, I'm not sure now. But there is someone in the temple who can confirm it, so I have to put the staff in front of him. Easton stretched out his hand to him. Don't worry, if I confirm that it's not ours, I will return it to you immediately, swearing on my priesthood. After hesitating for a while, Yu and Dazi raised the staff, apparently intending to hand it over to ensure safety. But just as the two of them were getting closer, Yu and Dazi suddenly threw a big fireball at Easton, making his position clear. Then his voice exploded in Kingayu's sea of consciousness. Kingayu, get out of here quickly, as far away as you can. Chapter 490 to the battle between the two sides. Kingayu was a little confused when she saw the big fireball hit Easton's face. They were quite harmonious just now. Why did they suddenly fight? Then Yu and Dazi's voice sounded, and he wanted it to leave. His first reaction was to leave. But the next moment he stopped, stood firmly beside his brother, and prepared to fight with him. Although he didn't know why Yu and Dazi did this, no matter what happened, he would definitely support him instead of running away alone. In fact, if possible, Yu and Dazi didn't want to fight, but the situation didn't allow it. First, he himself was unwilling to hand over this only magic wand, which was a good thing. From the time he got it back to now, the Archangel's staff has been absorbing energy continuously, which means that its grade has not recovered yet. And he can also feel that he and this staff gradually have a blood connection, so he is unwilling. Second, he can't believe the enemy's promise. Even if the other party is the so-called true god, it is untrustworthy. Even if he really keeps his promise and really intends to return it to him at that time, there must be more than one person in the temple. If someone else takes a fancy to this staff, and this so-called god cannot defeat him, then wouldn't he have added an important fighting force to the other party for no reason? The most important thing is that the soul-devouring monument just said that this staff is really the holy weapon they are looking for. In other words, as long as the Archangel's staff is in their hands, there is a 90% chance that they will not be able to get it back. After the big fireball hit, Yu and Dazi did not escape immediately, but planned to stay and fight him. At this time, he had made up his mind to die. Anyway, one of them must go, and he hoped that this person was King Gyu. Just when he was ready, he suddenly found that this silly child was still standing behind him and did not run away. He suddenly felt that his lungs were about to explode. Why are you still here? Didn't I tell you to leave quickly? No, how can I leave you alone and run away? King Gyu still shook his head, and this time his attitude was extremely firm. And as he wanted to say something else, but Easton had already emerged from the smoke. It seems that you have a deep relationship, but there is no need to quarrel over such a small matter. After hearing his words, the two immediately felt that what he said made sense, so they all faced him and took a defensive posture. Although you started it first, my proposal is still valid. As long as you give me that staff, I will not embarrass you. The god of truth Easton stretched out his hand again, expecting Yu and Dazi to give him the answer he wanted, although he also knew that this situation was unlikely. Sure enough, in response to him, there was a blue lightning from the Archangel's staff, which made him shake his head in disappointment. What a pity, I thought your brotherhood was touching, but I didn't expect that both of you were fools. Easton clenched his fists and also took his own starting posture. What the Lord God King said is indeed correct. There should be no mercy for these stupid humans. And as he threw another fireball at Easton, but just like before, the fireball had no effect on him. Easton grinned. Give up, my body is immune to magic below a certain power. With your current ability, you can't break through the defense even in your prime. Hearing this, Yu and Dazi put away the magic wand in his hand. Don't think you can get it so easily. A dark blade appeared in his right hand. Since this guy said that he was immune to magic, he could only use physical attacks. It happened that he now had a certain foundation in long range and close combat, so he was not afraid of this kind of enemy who specifically targeted a certain aspect. Watch out for the sword. Yu and Dazi raised the dark blade and rushed towards Easton, and he raised his knee calmly and hit back with his knee. The sword body brought a black light and fell on Easton's knee, but no blood flowed out. Easton looked at Yu and Dazi and smiled like a black man. Although I'm indeed more restrained against magic, it does not mean that my close combat ability is not good. Hearing this, Yu and Dazi's eyes condensed, and he quickly jumped back a few steps to avoid the kick just now from Eastman. Because I'm not afraid of most magic, I chose to become a warrior so that I can develop comprehensively and have fewer weaknesses. As he spoke, Eastman punched the ground, and this eternal blood-red land instantly cracked, and blood-colored magma gushed out from the ground. Yu and Dazi and King Gyu quickly jumped up to avoid the fatal high temperature, and then they had to dodge Eastman's attack again when they landed. Below, Nobita and the others were facing the Great Demon King and threw fatal silver darts at his heart. 6 people, 6 silver darts, almost all hit the Great Demon King's heart, and this result made everyone look happy. You actually got this thing. Ah. King Dima covered his heart, his expression twisted in pain. Seeing this, Miyako cheered on the spot. Great, the silver dart pierced the Demon King's heart. We finally won. The others also relaxed. The Demon King Dima was dead, and the remaining demons were no longer scary. At this time, the Great Demon King suddenly raised his head and laughed and said, "Ha ha ha, this thing doesn't work on me. Are you surprised?" Everyone's smile disappeared instantly. Why is this silver dart useless? Did Yu and Dazi fail to challenge the Demon King before because of the problem with the silver dart? Then King Dima raised his hand, ready to give them another big surprise, to let them understand how heavy the king's gift is. At this time, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart, as if someone punched him in the heart. The suddenly injured Demon King spurted out a mouthful of blood, his eyes full of disbelief. How is it possible? Why is there someone on the moon? King Dima quickly wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He didn't have time to talk nonsense with these people now. The right thing to do was to quickly deal with them. The moon is the core of his life. It is not only huge, but also extremely hard. There should be few people who can break through its defense. But now it is an indisputable fact that his heart is injured. For his safety, he must go up now. Taking a deep breath, King Dima slowly stood up. The pain in his heart still made him unforgettable. The people over there also began to wake up from their astonishment. Miyako shouted, "Everyone, run away, leave here first, and then think of a way." King Dima stretched out his hand again. "I'm sorry, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you." Air cannon. He pushed his hands forward, and an invisible shockwave appeared in this small space. There was nothing in the palace that could block this air cannon. Anything that blocked the way was destroyed, making them feel desperate. How could they carry on with their bodies when something engraved with magic patterns could easily destroy even stone pillars? At this moment of life and death, a burst of power that did not belong to Nobita suddenly erupted from his body, and it turned into a barrier covering everyone. No one noticed the source of this power, and even King Dima only felt a little bit of energy similar to his flashing. The powerful magic hit their bodies, and the barrier blocked most of the energy. The air cannon still hit them steadily, but it was obvious that the barrier offset most of the magic power, and the remaining small amount of energy ensured that they would not be killed on the spot by the air cannon. Then the impact of the air cannon took everyone out of the hall together, and these people escaped. King Dima stretched out his hand and clenched his heart, and the magic power surged. "All demons, listen to my order. Search for those humans with all your strength. They have special magic that can make people unable to notice them. Use the magic dragon's sense of smell to locate them. He has other things to do now, and has no time to care about these people." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 493. But I reject. Watching the flying dragon knights below leave the castle, the demon king's body also disappeared in this space, turning into a stream of black light and heading towards the moon. Although he was also very curious about the power that those children had just exploded, he had to check the heart anyway. Physical technique. Exploding mountain. Yu and Dazi and King Guy raised their hands at the same time, making a burst of air explosions, and collided with the fist of the god of truth. The two instantly felt a huge force coming, and their knuckles made a sound of being unable to bear the weight, and then their wrists bent back, and they couldn't even hold their fists. But with the combined efforts of the two of them, the fist of the god of truth Eastern only paused for a moment, and then knocked their bodies out. Yu and Dazi and King Guy were blown away by this strange force for nearly 100 meters, until they hit a protruding rock, and were forced to stop. Puff. After the two landed, they knelt on one knee on the ground and spit out a mouthful of blood at the same time. Damn it, the physical strength of this god of truth is too exaggerated, isn't it? Yu and Dazi wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, still frightened by the punch. His left wrist was deformed, and it felt like his bones were punched in, and it would be painful to move a little. King Guy next to him was even more uncomfortable. His right hand was broken by the punch just now, and it drooped weakly in front of his chest. And now I don't have much magic power, and the strange power can only last for 5 minutes at most. After 5 minutes, the two of us will be dead. Just when they were stunned for a few seconds, the god of truth charged at them again, and the two had to jump up. The god of truth's attack was empty, and the rock wall was directly shattered, and the power made them feel scared. You know, Yu and Dazi tried his best to barely open a hole in this ground. But the two men have not lost confidence, because they know that the turning point of the battle is coming soon. As expected, after launching a full-strength attack, the body of the god of truth needed a relatively short time to recover, and there was a short period of stiffness. How could the two people who were well versed in physical skills not know this opportunity? The reason they jumped up just now was to take advantage of this gap, to give him a hard blow when he was unprepared. The two immediately launched their strongest attacks on his back. 7 swords of the Demon King, slash the god. Physical skill, implosion. Yu and Dazi's sword blade drew a semicircle, leaving a light grey mark in the surrounding space, and landed on his back. After the black blade came into contact with the back of the god of truth, It immediately made a sound of metal collision, which made people feel a chill. However, there was still no trace of blood left where the sword blade was scratched, only a white mark and some hanging skin tissue. King Gaiu's attack was even worse. The demon power in his hand could not penetrate the back of the God of Truth at all, and all dissipated into the air, and even some of it rebounded into the body. Suddenly, the two men felt a sense of despair. The gap between them and the God of Truth was too big. Easton had also broken free from his stiffness, and then he said without looking back, "At that moment just now, I seemed to feel the breath of the demon race here." Then he turned his head and swung his arm across the two people, who were still in a daze, knocking them back to the other wall. After two loud bangs, they had gradually lost their ability to move. The injuries they suffered were too severe. The God of Truth slowly walked towards them. "Now tell me, is there a demon race among you?" Although it was very difficult to move, Yu and Dazi still shouted, "There are no demon races here." As soon as he finished speaking, he was punched in the stomach. "I'm sorry, you just lied." Now he only felt that his internal organs seemed to be displaced. The other party didn't use all his strength in the punch just now, but it didn't feel good. When King Gaiu saw this scene, he immediately struggled to stand up and said, "I'm the only demon. You are not allowed to hit my brother." Hearing this, the God of Truth turned around and grabbed his head. "I'm not lying this time. You are indeed the only demon." Then he lifted him up and threw him to the ground, making King Gaiu temporarily unable to move. "Human over there, I'll give you a chance to live." The God of Truth had a hint of evil smile on his face. "Your previous feelings seemed very sincere. What will happen if I ask you to kill this demon now?" The two of them were stunned for a moment, and the God of Truth over there continued to explain the conditions. "As long as you kill this demon and hand over the staff, I will let you go." Gian and as he seemed to be tempted, "Are you serious? As long as I do as you say, will you really let me go?" "That's right." The God of Truth nodded, "Because my priesthood has determined that I will never lie." King Gaiu also slowly sat up. "Brother, based on the current situation, there seems to be no better choice. Let's do it." Seeing that he was so sensible, Yu and as he smiled, "Indeed, between both of us dying, and only one of us dying, choosing to die one is not bad." The God of Truth smiled. Sure enough, the friendship of these humans was so fragile, no matter how much time had passed. But after a while, Yu and Dazi had no intention of taking action, which made him feel a little irritated. "Hurry up and do it. What's wrong? Do you want to die? You offer very good conditions." Then Yu and Dazi suddenly raised his head, "But I refuse." "Well said. Then you move." "What did you say just now?" The God of Truth was suddenly stunned. Did he just say that he refused? And King Gaiu looked at him in disbelief. He was ready to die. "Why did you suddenly change your mind?" The God of Truth looked at Yu and Dazi who was half kneeling below. "You just said you refused. Why? Do you want to accompany this hateful demon clan in hell?" "Yes, I refuse." "If you really want to ask why." Yu and Dazi raised his hand and gave him a middle finger. "That's because I like to say no to people who are stronger than me." After hearing this, the angry God of Truth punched him in the face again. "You lied. This is not your favorite thing at all." "King Gaiu, did you get the question wrong? We are not discussing what he likes most now, right?" After dealing with a child who lied to him many times, the God of Truth pulled out his hand and prepared to deal with the demon. Anyway, his scepter could not escape now, so he might as well deal with the demon first. "Although you are a demon, I still like you more, because you don't lie." The God of Truth raised his right hand, and several white lines appeared on his fist, ready to give King Gaiu the final blow. "Because I have a little bit of affection for you, I won't take you back to the temple for those guys to vent. At least I'll give you a quick death." King Gaiu closed his eyes. Anyway, his fate was already determined, so it was not bad to end like this. The expected pain did not come, but instead there was a scream and a violent collision, which made King Gaiu open his eyes and see another figure in front of him. Chapter 494, Tearing Dimmer Apart. King Dimmer, who was shrouded in shadows, rushed to the moon at this time. He was in a bad mood now. Someone had been destroying the moon since just now. Although he didn't know what happened on it, he would definitely kill the person who looked the coolest first. As for the two people on the ground, one was knocked unconscious and the other had a damaged spine. They had no fighting power for a while, so there was no need to pay attention to them for the time being. Although I don't know what happened, we seem to have survived. The bones on my back hurt so much. Once the tense nerves relax, the pain that he had ignored will continue to emerge, making Kingayu feel very uncomfortable. Who are you? The god of truth stood up, and now there was a large area of burn marks on his back. The power of the black fireball just now was too strong, and even his anti-magic skin could not be completely immune. In addition, he mobilized his own strength to kill Kingayu, and the defense ability behind him was weakened, which led to his serious injuries. So now the god of truth was unwilling to provoke this ruthless man, and tried to reconcile Mao Dun. I don't have any hatred with you, right? Why are you attacking me? Kingdom gave him a head tilt. What is this guy saying? Why can't I understand a word? Little guy, can you understand what he is saying? Kingayu nodded, and the importance of translation was reflected at this time. It was too inconvenient to not speak the same language. Moreover, these two guys didn't seem to be able to communicate with each other mentally, which led to such an embarrassing scene. But the god of truth didn't know this. He only saw this guy talking to the demon clan for a few words, and the demon clan nodded. Although he didn't know what the other party said, it didn't prevent him from classifying King Dimmer as a demon clan, and then listing him on the must-kill list. King Dimmer continued to say to Kingayu, then translate for me what he said just now. Maybe I can let you go. Anyway, it seems that these two children don't seem to have the ability to destroy the moon, so there is no need to kill these two guys directly. Just deal with the strongest one. And after he conquers the earth, the slaves on earth will need some leaders, and these two people seem to be a good choice. They have strength and courage, and they are also grateful for saving them. After a little brainwashing, they can play a big role. Just when Kingayu wanted to speak, the god of truth spoke first. You damn bastard, I must kill you today. So Kingayu had to translate faithfully. He said that he must kill you today, and scatter your ashes. What? Did that bastard really say that? King Dimmer was not happy either. I'm obviously stronger than you, and you dare to say that you scattered my ashes? So he immediately turned around and planned to say a few harsh words and then beat the other party to death to vent his hatred. But what he didn't expect was that before he could say anything, the god of truth had already rushed over and green lines gradually appeared on his body. You damned demons, die now. Physical skills, soul breaking. This is an ability that Easton developed specifically to deal with those mages, used to break the magic barrier of the mages, and strive to decide the outcome with one blow. Seeing that he was fighting so aggressively, King Dimmer was too lazy to say anything harsh, and black flames rose in his hands. You are brave enough, take my hellfire. The black flames immediately filled all the space in front of the god of truth, and the temperature coming from inside also made him a little scared. Just the residual heat made his current body a little unbearable. Thinking of this, Easton's body strength surged again, and the lines on his body surface became more vivid. With this layer of protection, the god of truth was relieved and rushed into the flames without slowing down. Oh, this guy actually dared to take the challenge? Shouldn't normal intelligent creatures be scared and hide aside? King Dimmer was also very surprised. He didn't expect that he would really meet a fool today. It seems that this battle is over. You know, the temperature of his hell flame is higher than the temperature of the surface of the sun. As long as it is a living thing, it is basically impossible to survive the flames. But just when he just relaxed, a figure rushed out of his flames, and the killing intent enveloped King Dimmer's whole body at this moment. Although the god of truth was burned badly, his skin was carbonized in several places, and the lines on his body were dimmed, but his eyes were still firm. All the demons should be destroyed. The fist hit King Dimmer's astonished face, and directly opened a hole in his face. Kingayu, who had just barely sat up, was stunned. Is there anything wrong? He finally had a little hope. And you, the Demon King, are too weak. I thought you were a boss, but I didn't expect you to be worse than a soldier. But then the eyes of the god of truth were full of surprise, because the punch he just hit on King Dimmer felt no different from hitting the air. In other words, the punch he just hit desperately might have hit just an illusion. Sure enough, after Easton smashed a mountain with his remaining momentum, a circle of black flames suddenly appeared around him, trapping him in the center of the flames. Damn, am I still trapped? The god of truth looked at the flames around him and began to think about countermeasures. Human, you are strong, but I'm not as weak as you think. Kingdom looked at the trapped god of truth, and the killing intent in his heart could no longer be contained. What a familiar pain that was just now. It must be this guy. He has been destroying his heart since then, so he must die here. The 9 kings of Dimmer appeared in the flames, and their scholard eyes kept staring at the god of truth, as if they were considering how to deal with this guy. Although Easton, who was in the ring of fire, was surrounded by high temperature flames, he felt that he was surrounded by wind, frost, ice, and snow. The 9 figures of Kingdom stretched out their fingers at the same time. Now pay the price for your words and deeds. Petrification beam. Easton knew that this move was unavoidable, so he had to use all his strength to exert his anti-magic skin to the extreme, trying to resist this attack. The purple electric light was extremely fast, and Easton couldn't even fully activate his anti-magic skin before he was beaten into a stone statue by Kingdomer. Seeing the petrified Easton, Kingdomer shook his cloak with satisfaction. Humph, just a human. You dare to make trouble in my territory. You really don't know your place. Then he walked towards the 2 humans lying on the ground. Seeing that they were quite strong, he now planned to let these 2 people help him rule the world. You 2 humans, I plan to give you a chance. As long as you are willing to surrender, after I conquer the earth, I will give you the right to rule the slaves. He was about to explain his grand plan to the 2 people and wanted them to join when a hand made of stone suddenly pierced through his chest. Kingdom looked at the petrified arm on his chest in horror. How is it possible? Didn't I use magic to turn you into stone? Why can you still move? The hand made of stone gradually faded, and the bronze skin appeared on the arm again, which looked a bit magical. Your magic is very powerful, but I have a treasure given by the sun god, which is specifically used to restrain your black magic. This insidious trick is useless to me. As soon as the voice fell, another palm pierced his chest again, and Kingdomer's screams became more intense. Okay, now we can put an end to it. After saying that, Easton used both hands to tear Kingdomer's body in half. Chapter 495 The Seventh Sword. After solving the trouble that came out of nowhere, the god of truth Easton shook the blood off his hands. Okay, your reinforcement are dead. Now it's your turn. At this time, Yu and Azzy still hadn't regained consciousness, and King Gaiu was also unable to move. Their fate was obvious. Easton finally breathed a sigh of relief. At this point, there should be no variables. Now you have lost this trump card. If you have any last words, you can tell them earlier. The soul-devouring monument sighed. Yu and Azzy said that he didn't need to take action because reinforcement might appear later. He didn't want to take action unless it was absolutely necessary. But now it seems that they have reached the end of the road. It will be too late for him to take action. Just when the old man was about to extend his mental power to fight with Easton, he suddenly saw something behind Easton. He sneered and retracted his power and continued to wait and see. After confirming that they had no ability to resist, Easton slowly walked towards the 2 people lying on the ground, breathing heavily. The rapid sneak attack just now was very exhausting and aggravated his injuries. However, as long as he can complete the task assigned by the sun god, it is worth it, even if there are more sacrifices. Easton stood in front of King Gaiu and stretched out his hands that were still dripping with blood, and the dim patterns lit up again. If you don't have anything to say, then you can die. Although I don't really want to kill a child, the relationship between the God clan and the Demon clan is irreconcilable. His bloody hands formed into claws, intending to directly strangle King Gaiu's throat and put the most perfect end to his action this time. At this moment, Yu and Azzy, who was lying on the ground, suddenly opened his eyes, and the dark blade and dark star cloak appeared on him instantly. A black shadow flashed by, and Yu and Azzy's body blocked King Gaiu's body, allowing him to escape the disaster of death again. Since Easton cracked the moon, he knew that the Demon King would definitely come up to check the situation, so he has been delaying time since just now. He originally wanted to wait until the Demon King and Easton were both injured before attacking, but Easton tricked the Demon King, so he had to wake up early to save people. The black sword edge blocked Easton's palm, and there was a faint trace of blood on the blade. After consuming a lot of energy, the dark blade was able to break through his defense. You guy, you only need to lie on the ground, and nothing will happen, right? Why do you want to get up? Easton felt the pain from his palm, and could only shout to express his inner anger. It was obviously about to end. Yu and Dazzy didn't say anything, but used all his strength to push Easton back a step. At this time, Eastman was close to the end of his strength. He didn't expect that this child could still have so much strength, and he was immediately annoyed. Seeing this opportunity, Yu and Dazzy directly picked up King Gaiu, soared into the sky, and rushed directly to the direction of the Demon Realm Star. The layer of terrifying black flames that enveloped the entire Demon Realm Star. After Yu and Dazzy had a cloak, it was possible for him to break into the Demon Realm Star. Now that was their last hope. If they wanted to survive Easton, they had to go to the demon world. You bastards, don't even think about running. Easton roared, bending his body slightly, ready to jump up and intercept them. At this moment, several tentacles suddenly stretched out from the ground and wrapped around his ankles, cutting off his hope of chasing. Damn, what is this? Eastman looked at the black vines on the ground, and a chill rose from the bottom of his heart. Or thought appeared directly in his sea of consciousness. Do you think you can kill me? After understanding this sentence, he suddenly remembered that there was something on the ground that he had torn in half. He quickly looked back, and the two bodies had long disappeared, replaced by a new Kingdomer. Powerful magic gathered in Kingdomer's hands, and he intended to beat this guy into ashes with this blow. This bastard actually dared to destroy his heart, and also sneak attacked, and tore him in half. He had never been insulted like this before. Easton glanced at the two people in the air with some reluctance. I may not be able to go back this time, but he must die here. He half crouched, his hands formed into knife-shaped hands, and his strength was concentrated on his legs, ready to burst out at any time. Yes, it's this angle. Easton's eyes locked on the two people who were getting farther and farther away, and his body was tense. When his physical condition reached its peak, he suddenly exerted force on his hands and cut off his own legs. At the same time, Easton's body soared into the sky like a missile, aiming directly at King Gaiu and Yu and Daz's arms. The blood left a terrifying track behind him, and Kingdomer on the ground was shocked by his decisiveness. This guy actually cut off his own legs. Because he really couldn't figure out what hatred those two children had with him, and they actually wanted to kill them at this time. And as he looked at the demon star getting closer and closer in the air, and his originally hanging heart gradually let go. In this case, he shouldn't be able to catch up, right? At this moment, within his perception range, a figure was rapidly closing the distance at a speed far beyond their limit. Oh my god, didn't he say that flying speed is his weakness? Yu and Dazzy was shocked, and then accelerated again. No, he will be caught up if he does this. King Gaiu suddenly said, brother, throw me away, his target is me, and if you throw me away, your speed will be faster. Hearing this, Yu and Dazzy nodded and loosened his right hand that had been holding King Gaiu. At the same time, he also loosened the cloak on his back, and he once again chose to throw this life-saving object to King Gaiu. After one person was missing, the speed of the cloak did become faster, but Yu and Dazzy was sandwiched between the two of them. Taking a deep breath, Yu and Dazzy took out the dark blade again, and touched the blade with his hand. Scarlet blood flowed in the magic pattern, and the dark golden pattern lit up again, activated by the blood of the owner. At this time, Yu and Dazzy's limited magic power must be used to maintain the giant force technique, so he can only use this most primitive method to activate the magic pattern. As his descendant, if I can't even protect one of my people, how can I be the leader of the demon race? Looking at the reflection on the sword blade, his mind was extremely calm now, and he had already put his own life and death aside. In the state of Taoism, he suddenly understood why the Demon King chose to stay and fight to the death with the human race behind. In their hearts, some things are more important than their own lives. They are determined to do it, even though they know they will die. The soul-devouring monument Lingfeng, who had been watching in his soul, could no longer sit still. The child's current momentum was somewhat similar to that of the Demon King. Seeing this scene, his power gradually flowed into Yu and Daz's limbs and bones, protecting his heart. I didn't expect you to really understand. From today on, he officially recognized this person's status. Easton was approaching quickly, and when he saw Yu and Dazi in front of him, he immediately shouted, "Get out of my way, don't block my way." But Yu and Dazi in front of him did not react at all, and stood in front of him, determined to fight Easton to the death. Easton was also very anxious at this time. The attack from Kingdom was coming from behind, and he had no time to tangle with this guy. Easton had to clench his fists. "Since you choose to die, I will send you off." His speed in the air increased again. With his reckless burning of energy, he briefly burst out with the strength of his peak period. And as he was not to be outdone, he released the half of the talisman energy he had just recovered on the ground in a short period of time, bursting out with far more strength than usual. The blade slid, drawing several shadows in the space. And as he clenched the hilt with both hands and used the last sword he had not yet mastered, Broken Burial. Chapter 496 Nobita's desperate situation. At the moment he drew his sword, Easton seemed to be in a trance for a moment, and then he felt a sharp pain in his arm and chest. He lowered his head and looked at the gap on his chest in disbelief, because the boy's sword directly cut off his arm and the ribs on his chest. Although his skin was not as tough as before due to the burning, it was not something that a person of his level should cut open, let alone bones. Then he pulled the hilt of the sword inserted in Easton's body, and Yu and Daz's body instantly stuck to Easton in front of him. Then he kicked his legs hard on his abdomen, and pushed Easton to the light path extending from the back. As for Yu and Dazki, he used the reaction force of the moment just now, to chase King Gayu in front. But now he has no way to feel his position, because he really fainted this time, and the sword just now has drained his strength. The God of Truth looked at Yu and Dazi and King Gayu who were getting farther and farther away from him in front of him, and anger filled his chest. This guy actually escaped from his hands? Shame. He now only had this feeling left. They were just two ants, but they actually escaped from the hands of his god. In a rage, Easton immediately decided to burn his godhood and then kill the two people in front of him. But the disadvantage of doing so is that their temple will lose this godhood forever, so he has been hesitant about whether to use this killing move. But now that things have come to this, there is no need to think about this problem anymore. If the gods are shamed because of him, then his sins will never be washed away. Crack. In Easton's soul, the invisible godhood shattered, and at the same time, the mark representing truth also appeared on his head. Now, you can never escape again. Easton ignored the energy beam behind him, and locked the position of Yu and Dazi and King Gayu. Just when he was about to activate his divine power, he suddenly felt a pain in his heart, which made his consciousness dazed for a while, and even the speed of his divine power slowed down. What's going on? My heart. Could it be the energy left by the traitor of the goddess of night in that battle? Why did it happen at this time? He stretched out his hand helplessly, facing the direction where Yu and Dazi and King Gayu disappeared, as if he wanted to grab something. The soul-devouring monument also made a move at his weakest moment, extending its mental power into his sea of consciousness. I didn't expect you to be defeated by two children. Your god clan is almost over. You, who are you? Easton's soul was screaming, but it was useless. It was eroded and swallowed by Ling Feng's energy in an instant. Then, the true god Easton, who had lost his soul, was completely submerged in the destructive beam released by Kingdom. Seeing that there was no danger now, the Dark Star Cloak temporarily slowed down its forward speed, and prepared to pull Yu and Dazi into the car. No matter what, that was his master, and it was not in line with his identity to abandon him. Not long after, the Dark Star Cloak surrounded Yu and Dazi, took the two children away, and disappeared in the flames of the Demon Realm Star. HMPH, did they escape? Kingdom looked at the situation ahead, and shook his head helplessly. Forget it, they are no threat to my heart anyway, they leave and it's not a difficult thing to do. As soon as he finished speaking, his body gradually faded and returned to the main city of the dead, the King's City, intending to continue looking for the guys who had just broken into the temple. Compared with the two people who had been beaten half crippled, these children and the prophecy made him more frightened. So for the sake of his life, it would be better to capture those humans from Earth, lest the prophecy come true. Just after returning to this space, the Demon King received a good news. That is, a human child with a particularly pointed mouth had been captured. After receiving this news, Kingdom smiled for the first time in a long time. Okay. Pass the order down. After those people are captured, let everyone have extra food. Remember to bring me a pot. I have to celebrate. After resolving all the threats, the Demon King sat on his throne, bossing the people below, looking very unhappy. At this time, Nobita was still avoiding the pursuit of other monsters, but his scent had been discovered by the dragon and he could not leave. Seeing more and more monsters around him, Nobita's eyes were gradually filled with despair. Those things looked like dragons, but their sense of smell was even more sensitive than that of dogs. It's really abominable. As long as we are prepared, even Doraemon's props will be useless. Oops. Nobita complained while running, but accidentally tripped over a stone on the ground. It hurts. Nobita stood up with great effort. His hands and knees had been rubbed by the ground just now, and it hurt him to move. Then he covered his chest. Oh no, my blind spot star is broken. Although the effect of this thing has become much smaller, if it can make people lose their vision, there is still a little chance of escape. Now he has lost even the last support. How can a child escape from so many demons? Desperate, Nobita knelt on the ground and looked at the sky. It seems that our fate is already determined. Even the strongest classmate Yuan is gone. Although he did not think that Yuan Dazi could defeat the Demon King, it should be possible to help them escape from the Demon King, right? Yuan Dazi, where are you? Did you challenge the Demon King and then be killed by the Demon King? Oh, what happened to my body? Why is it floating? Nobita, who was waiting for his fate to come, suddenly flew up and then hid in a cave, which made him feel very strange. Nobita looked at his hands. Did I learn magic? But I didn't use any magic just now. Don't be so self-indulgent. It was the magic I used. Miyako took off the blind spot star on her chest, and her figure appeared in the cave. In this desperate situation, the two of them looked at each other, and then for some reason, Miyako suddenly made a decision. She put her blind spot star on Nobita's hand. Wear this later. While I run out, to lure away the monsters, you must escape from them. How can this be? How can I leave you alone and run away? Nobita pushed the blind spot star back with a firm attitude. Although he was a loser, he was very resistant to abandoning his companions. Besides, if you really have to leave, it should be you. For someone like me, it's useless even if I run away. Don't be stupid. The only person who can leave now is you. Do you have the ability to lure away all those demons and let me leave? Miyako's words hurt Nobita. He knew very well that he was a useless person. If he wanted him to lure away the demons, he would have enough courage not to kneel on the ground in fear. What else can he do? After all, he is just an ordinary person, and the person opposite is a demon king who can destroy the world. Seeing that he was silent, Miyako silently put the blind spot star on his chest, and Nobita's figure disappeared from her sight. Relying on her memory, she put her hand on Nobita's face and said, "You have to promise me that you will live well." After that, Miyako turned and walked to the cave entrance. "Remember, I don't have much time to buy." Then she rushed into the open area in front of her without hesitation, and became their target, releasing powerful magic. Nobita clenched the blind spot star in his hand, and took advantage of the gap that Miyako bought for him to rush out of the demon's blockade. Chapter 497 History repeats. Waste, you waste. The Demon King angrily threw his wine glass to the ground. With all the troops dispatched, there is still one person and a raccoon missing. You should die to atone for your sins. The demons kneeling on the ground trembled. They knew very well that when the Demon King was angry, it was best not to talk back to him, otherwise they would die ugly. The Demon King looked at the demons below. He wanted to kill this bastard now, because the Dragon Knight's heel head had a good mood for him. But he still gave up this plan, because the highest level of combat power he had now was only the kneeling commander and Medusa. If he lost this commander again, then he could only trust a demon general who was once a human. As an emperor, he was very clear about this most basic balancing technique, so before another demon general was promoted, this guy was still safe. Finally, the Demon King waved his hand gently. Forget it, you let your Dragon Knight come back. This time I will do it myself. The demon general below was stunned, and then his body trembled even more. Master Demon King, please let me go. I will definitely make amends. In the demon world, this sentence means that the Demon King is very disappointed with you, which means that you are not far from death. At this time, a white-haired witch with only one arm left came to the interior of this magnificent hall. Master Demon King, Medusa's injury has healed. Please give me instructions. The demon general looked back at her. Why did this guy come at this time? You are deliberately competing with me for favor at this time. The Demon King took out a crystal ball, and the ball showed the figures of Nobita and Doraemon, who were standing at the edge of the woods. Medusa, this time you go and deal with those two guys, and I have other tasks to give you when you come back. Yes, Master Demon King. Medusa bowed her head and left the hall. This scene made the demon general in front of him so angry that his teeth itched. Did he fall out of favor like this? Master Demon, do you have any tasks that must be given to Medusa? My strength is not inferior to Medusa. You can give it to me. No, only Medusa can do this. You can't do it. As he spoke, two ancient paper scrolls appeared in his hands. Through reading, I already know how to crack the moon's defense array, but you, a pure-blooded demon, can't go to the moon, understand? A burst of black flames emerged from the Demon King's hands, burning the paper scrolls to ashes. This was the last threat left to him by Narniadis. After doing all this, the Demon King finally put his mind at ease. Now the earth is in his pocket, and nothing can stop him anymore. The 1,000-year wish of the demon world is finally coming true. Nobita and Doraemon stood at the edge of the forest, looking at the stone forest area in front of them. Now they are in a very heavy mood. Doraemon, no one else has come here until now. Nobita's tone was calm with a hint of despair. Doraemon was not much better, and was in a very low mood. Yeah, our decision to come to this demon world was a mistake in itself. The two were silent for a long time, and suddenly thought, oh, if this is a mistake, then don't let it happen. They looked at each other, and saw the light of hope in each other's eyes, because they suddenly found a way to reverse it all. Doraemon immediately took out the leather bag from his pocket. Now we will use this thing to bring the desk in Nobita's room here. Then Doraemon's chubby hand reached into the bag, and pulled out a desk from it. Hurry, Nobita. Now the time machine is a last way out. Hurry in, it will be too late. The two opened the drawer and jumped in directly, and Medusa, who came from the Demon King's palace, happened to see this scene and was stunned for a moment. Why is this thing so strange? What is this? Is it a magic similar to the space channel? It really works. It actually left a way out for itself. After figuring it out, without any hesitation, Medusa followed them into the time tunnel and began to chase these targets. Her mistake last time had already disappointed the Demon King. Now that she had the opportunity to make up for her mistake, she would never give up. In the narrow time tunnel, Doraemon found that the alarm on the time machine suddenly sounded, which scared them a lot. What's going on? Is there something behind us? Doraemon immediately understood the meaning of the alarm and looked back. The time tunnel behind them, which was shining with strange light, was gradually stained with a dark color. The ominous breath kept coming, and the two were scared. Damn, what's going on? Did those demons really chase them here? Doraemon watched the originally colorful time tunnel being polluted by the black power, but he was powerless now. So he had to push the handle of the time machine forward and turn the machine's horsepower to the maximum. As long as they did that, they would be able to successfully turn the tables. But the speed of the demons was obviously faster than them. After more than 10 seconds, they had already seen the demon behind them, with white hair and black robes, and two giant pythons circling over his head. Nobita said her name in disbelief. Medusa. It's Medusa. She caught up. What? Wasn't he almost killed by Yuande's he? How could he recover so quickly? Doraemon continued to operate the time machine, but there is no time to care about her now. Our preset time has arrived. Get off the car. The barriers around the time tunnel suddenly opened, and Nobita and Doraemon walked out of the exit in a panic, ready to stop them from using the time machine now. Nobita looked at the blue fat man. Doraemon, what time is it now? How much time do we have before we can use the telephone booth? Don't worry, I came back early. Now we still have 10 hours before we can use the time machine. Doraemon assured him that there was still plenty of time and told him not to worry about the time. At this moment, an ominous breath suddenly came from behind him, which made Nobita's hair stand up. No way. Could it be that Medusa hasn't given up and has been chasing here? Nobita and Doraemon made a prompt decision. put on their own bamboo dragonflies, and prepared to continue their escape journey. The two pressed the switch of the bamboo dragonfly at the same time, followed by a run up and take off. The whole process was as smooth and natural as flowing water. But they just took off, and fell from the sky, and landed heavily on the ground. Oh no, I actually forgot that the bamboo dragonfly has run out of power after flying for a long time on the Demon World star. Regardless of the pain in their bodies, the two stood up immediately. For the sake of their own safety, they had to change a means of transportation now. At this moment, a woman in white with snake-like hair came out of the time tunnel. The cold breath made the two feel that the air around them was gradually solidified. You two, don't run anymore. Welcome the judgment from us demons. Nobita looked around and saw a broom standing in the corner. After a delay of just a few tenths of a second, Nobita suddenly had another plan for escape. Stupid, who will listen to you obediently? Nobita pulled Doraemon to ride on the broom. Clang calabang. Nobita chanted the universal spell in the magic world, and the broom instantly soared into the sky. Doraemon held the broom tightly from behind. Nobita, when did you learn to ride a flying broom? I haven't learned it either. Nobita manipulated the magic broom, but if we don't fly now, we're dead. Facts have proved that when people are in desperate situations, their own potential will burst out, and even Nobita has learned to ride a broom. Humph, a trifle. Medusa smiled disdainfully. Watch me. Dark magic, the power of the gargoyle. The dark purple light gathered in her hands, and after reaching its peak, it burst out in an instant. The purple light covered half of the sky. In such a range, Nobita and Doraemon could not avoid it at all. After being exposed to the purple light, the bodies of the two people quickly petrified and turned into two lifelike stone sculptures. Doraemon, who was sitting in the back, fell down first, while Nobita was carried by the magic broom and flew away. Medusa nodded with great satisfaction. In this way, her mission was completed. Then she turned around and flew back to where she had just come from, returning to their demonic planet through the time and space tunnel. Chapter 498 Doraemon joins the battle. This went on until the evening. After Nobita and Doraemon failed in their attempt to make trouble in the pocket, they closed their eyes in complete despair. Now there was no hope that they could stop all this. After an unknown amount of time, they suddenly found that their hands and feet could move again. The two looked at their bodies with joy and found that the petrification marks on their bodies had disappeared. They returned to normal. It seems that you can move now, so I can remove the time baggage to avoid turning you into children. When they were ecstatic, a clear female voice came from outside, and Doraemon immediately recognized her. This was his most beloved sister, Doraemon. Doraemon lifted up the time baggage, and the two looked at Doraemon in front of them, their eyes gradually filled with tears. Doremi, why did you think of saving us? You probably don't know our situation. Doremi put a time bag into the patent pocket. It's because my brother's behavior just now was so abnormal. In order to prevent any accidents from happening to you, Shizuka asked me to check with the spare pocket, and I found these two strange things. Because the stone statue looks so much like you, I took a time magnifying glass and looked at it, and then I found that you were living people before, so I used the time bag to save you. Before she finished speaking, the two of them pounced on Doremi. Good sister, I knew you care about me the most. Okay, let go of me, both of you. Doremi pushed them away with difficulty and wiped her neck helplessly. Brother, I'm not saying anything bad about you. If you're okay, go to the hospital and check your body. Don't make us worry too much. Facing her approach, Doraemon touched his head. You know, there is a reason why I don't like going to the hospital. Forget it, I don't want to bother with you. Doraemon took out the phone booth. I just saw you using the phone booth. What happened to you two should be related to it, right? Nobita nodded frantically. Yes, it is it. As long as there isn't a phone booth, then that parallel world will not be created. At this time, because of the commonality of the world props, the note on the phone booth is still red, representing the parallel world. Nobita walked into the phone booth and picked up the phone. Doraemon happily held hands, and the adventure ended. In the joyful atmosphere of the finale, Nobita suddenly put down the phone in his hand and walked out. Doraemon, if we restore the world to its original state now, what will happen to the magic world over there? Will it continue to develop? That's right. Doraemon nodded. If you close the parallel world now, then the magic world will become a parallel world that has nothing to do with here and will run according to its own trajectory. The two sides have different understandings of the world view. Gian and Azzy and others think that they have changed the laws of the world, but in their worldview, they have created a parallel world. After getting her affirmative answer, Nobita suddenly changed his mind. Then let's go back. I really can't let go of Miyako and the others. Do you know what you are saying? We finally came back. Do you still want to go back and die? Doraemon didn't understand Nobita's thoughts. They had already left alive. And this matter is related to their lives, so they must make a careful choice. Because Miyako and my companions are still waiting for me. Nobita's tone was very firm. I can't abandon those companions who fought with me. Fat Tiger, Sunia, Shizuka and Miyako, they were all captured. Do you want me to stand by and watch? Although it's just a parallel world, I will feel guilty when I think about it later. Doraemon wanted to say something else, but Doraemon stopped him. Don't persuade him. Don't you think this is a kind of growth? Doraemon was stunned for a moment, and then looked at Nobita carefully. He seemed to be different now. Compared to when he first came to this timeline, Nobita has experienced a lot. He has become more determined and smarter than before, and he can almost stand on his own. In the end, Doraemon also agreed to this matter. Okay, I know. Then let's go back together. This time with Doraemon here, we may not lose to those magicians. After reaching an agreement, the three returned to the second floor together and took Doraemon's time machine back to not long after they set out. This is also to avoid Medusa. If they meet that guy now, they have no guarantee of winning a battle with the demon in its prime. Very good. We are back successfully, so this time we have to be fully prepared. Doraemon began to take out her magic pocket. Next, use this spy satellite to search for their whereabouts. Haha, my sister is so smart. Why didn't I think of it? Doraemon touched his head happily, and Nobita teased. It's because you are stupid. At this time, Medusa has returned to the palace to report. Dear Demon King, those two human imps have been turned into stone by me. King Demon nodded. Through the soul mark he left on Medusa, King Demon knew the whole process very well. Very good, Medusa, you have completed this mission very well. I have other tasks for you next. The Demon King waved his hand, and the surrounding scene suddenly turned into the moon. According to the scroll left by Naniadis, there is a magic circle on the back of the moon, which constantly emits moonlight magic that can fight against our demons. Now you go to the moon to find this location, and then use this sealed sword to completely destroy the magic circle on it. Yes, my master. After Medusa agreed, magic patterns suddenly appeared on the ground, and a green sword blade slowly emerged. Medusa pulled up the sword without saying a word, and then turned around and left here to complete the task assigned by the Demon King. Alas, one of my subordinates is not doing a good job, and the other is a human who can never be trusted. Where is my dinner? Why hasn't it been served yet? After King Demon sat on the throne, he had to yell a few words to vent his inner dissatisfaction. Report to the Lord Demon. A soldier ran in tremblingly, because there is a man and a raccoon cat that have not been caught. The kitchen has not started preparing yet. What a bunch of rubbish. The Demon King wanted to slap this guy to death. Tell them to prepare dinner immediately, or I will chop him up. The demon soldier trembled all over. He was afraid that the Demon King would kill him in anger. He was relieved after he successfully retreated from the palace. He was almost scared to death by the previous blow. Nobita and the others also learned the good news through the spy satellite. Great. In that case, Miyako and the others are safe. That's right. And if we continue to track this demon, we can find out where those people are. Doraemon stared at the screen intently, afraid that she would miss a little detail and cause their rescue operation to fail. Not long after, the demon soldier walked into the kitchen and kicked the chef who was still sleeping. Why are you still sleeping? The devil ordered you to kill those humans quickly. Seeing this scene, Doraemon both smiled knowingly. They didn't expect to find their companions so quickly. What to do next is obvious. Rescue your companions, and then immediately return to the moon to stop Medusa from destroying the magic circle of God on the moon. Chapter 499 Mysterious Woman. Brother, wake up. Kingayu kept pushing Yu and Dazi, who was still unconscious. He pushed Kingayu's hand away and muttered in a daze, "What are you arguing about? Is it so troublesome for me to sleep in?" Seeing him like this, Kingayu and the soul-devouring monument didn't know what to say. Now they are in the opponent's base camp, and you bastard is sleeping so soundly. Do you still have any sense of crisis? The old man had to use the final plan. Kingayu, just do it according to the method I taught you. Don't worry, his injuries are almost healed, and he will definitely not die if he does that. Kingayu stood up hesitantly. Although the method was very simple, he didn't want to use it so much. "I'm sorry, it seems that there is no other way now." After Kingayu apologized to him in his heart, he immediately jumped up with all his strength. The spirit transformed by the soul-devouring monument took a look at the height of Kingayu's jump and silently walked 2 steps to the side to avoid accidentally hurting him later. A few dozen seconds later, a human-shaped cannonball landed squarely on Yu and Daz's stomach, almost sending him to death. "Which villain wants to harm me?" Yu and Daz he stretched out his hand with all his strength and grabbed the thing in front of him. It seemed to be a foot. Kingayu jumped happily on his stomach a few times. "Great, the method taught by Grandpa is really effective." I woke up in an instant. At this moment, a hand suddenly grabbed his foot. "It's you. You are not grateful for saving me, and you even want to murder me." Looking at Yu and Dazi on the ground with a face darker than the bottom of a pot, Kingayu immediately wanted to escape, but it was too late. Yu and Dazi stood up and held Kingayu upside down in his hand. "Do you have any last words to say now? Brother, listen to my explanation. This is the method taught to me by the ancestor spirit. It can quickly wake you up from your coma." Kingayu looked for help at the materialized soul-devouring monument spirit next to him, but he immediately threw out 3 consecutive denials. "I'm not. I didn't. Don't talk nonsense." "What? How can you do this? It was obviously you who gave me." "Wait, brother, don't misunderstand. This time it was really the soul-devouring monument's idea. I just did it." "Cloak, you say something." Hearing this, the cloak had to float out of Yu and Daz's hand reluctantly. He now understood this feeling of being misunderstood and expressed deep sympathy for it. Then a corner of the cloak floated up, turned a few times in the air, and pointed at Kingayu. That's what he did. Understanding is understanding, but he can tell which is more serious, offending an old man or offending a little kid. "Stinky boy, I wonder what else you have to say now." Yu and Dazi shook him in the air and left a residual shadow. "Look at me today." Seeing that he had been bullied for almost a long time, the soul-devouring monument quickly said, "Okay, now is not the time to hit him. Don't forget where you are now." Hearing this, Yu and Dazi remembered that he seemed to be still in the dangerous demon realm star, and it was not the time to waste time here. After putting Kingayu down, Kingayu looked at the 2 magic weapons over there hatefully. He didn't expect that these 2 old guys colluded to bully him. "Before I fainted, I remember that I kicked the god of truth Easton into the attack of the Demon King. What happened to him in the end?" "You said that the Protoss who had nothing left was smashed into pieces by the power of the Demon King. I also picked up some blood and soul from his body to heal you." Yu and Dazi realized that his own injuries seemed to have recovered, and his strength seemed to have increased slightly compared to before. "It seems that I have succeeded in killing him. By the way, he said that the demons and the gods have irreconcilable conflicts. Don't you want to tell me about it?" The soul-eating monument was silent for a while and said, "You are not strong enough now. But destroying the gods is indeed the purpose of your coming here. There is no doubt about that. You have also seen how powerful the gods are. Those are just the most ordinary gods. Before you transcend the limitations of the world, that is, break through the existing realm, you have no ability to resist them." The old man looked at them with some regret. This time it should be that the energy fluctuations of the world are too strong, so some of the gods have begun to wake up. You have to improve your strength as soon as possible. Don't worry, I would seek revenge on them, even if you didn't tell me. But you took so long to tell me, it's really not nice. And as he stood up and stretched his body, then asked, "Speaking of which, how long have I been unconscious here?" The soul-eating monument calculated, "If you look at the time you fell to the ground, it has been about 3 or 4 hours now. Your companions have also left the demon star for a long time." "What?" Yu and Daisy was shocked. They have been gone for so long. Why did you wake me up just now? According to the speed of the demon realm star, they should not be far from the earth now, and he must hurry back to join the group. He has been playing a single player mode of a copy. If he has not returned to the team at the last moment, then his presence in this movie will be zero. The Dark Star Cloak appeared on Yu and Daisy again, and he opened his hands. Kingayu, come and go to the moon with me. Kingayu understood and stood beside him. The old man stopped him. Why, are you going to reinforce the moon of the earth? Forget it, the demon realm star is almost to the earth now, and it's useless to go there. Even if the protective formation is gone, your world may not be destroyed. Who said I'm going to that moon? Yu and Daisy rolled his eyes at him. Go to the moon of the demon realm star, just be a reinforcement at the end. As soon as the voice fell, the Dark Star Cloak instantly surrounded their bodies, leaving a faint shadow in the air. At this time, Nobita and his friends were standing on the magic carpet in a panic. After Doremi rescued everyone else, they learned that Medusa was going to destroy the magic circle on the moon, so they were now rushing to the moon, intending to do their best to stop Medusa. As long as the magic circle on the moon was not destroyed, they might not lose. But when they arrived in space not far from the moon, the scene they saw in the air was completely different from what they thought. At this time, the back of the moon was bumpy, as if someone had bombed it with some powerful magic before. Golden magic crystals were scattered everywhere, emitting charming light. In addition, there was a huge crystal giant standing on the crystal, seemingly guarding the core of the moon's magic circle. What's going on here? Why is there this crystal giant? Did Naniadis leave some protective magic circle? Their first reaction was this. After all, apart from Naniadis, almost no one would care about the situation here now. Those good-for-nothings didn't even believe in the past history. Moreover, even the well-informed priest Manu was somewhat frightened when seeing these signs of destruction. People on Earth couldn't do this, and neither could he. Nobita and Doraemon shook their heads. I don't know. At least, the history of the demon world that we interpreted did not mention a protection array. Miyako was driving the magic carpet and suddenly pointed at the core of the array and shouted, "Everyone, look there." Everyone looked in the direction of Miyako's finger. There was a woman with long hair in white clothes lying below with only one arm left. She looked very weak. She might know some news, and she was not dead yet. As long as we find her, we might be able to ask for some information. After seeing the woman below, Miyako and Priest Manu were suddenly stunned. Then, that person seems to be. After seeing clearly, they immediately controlled the magic carpet to fly downward, because that person seemed to be the person they had been thinking about for 10 years, Miyako's mother. Nobita looked at the nervous Miyako next to him. What's going on? Miss Miyako, do you know that person? I'm not sure either. Miyako is very scared now. This is her mother who gave birth to her, but she has signed a contract with the devil. Why is she here? But she is not afraid that this person is a devil. Even if it is a devil, she will admit that this is her mother. But Miyako is afraid that this mother is fake, a phantom that can never be reached, and a bait used by the demons to lure people into the trap. And Pastor Manu doesn't know how to face this former wife. Logically speaking, people who sign a contract with the devil are the root of the trouble on earth, and he should not let any of them go. But that is his wife. Although he said it harshly, when it comes to facing her, Pastor Manu still doesn't know what to do. As for the people around, they have never seen Miyako's mother, so naturally they don't have any special feelings. The magic carpet slowly landed on the ground, and Miyako and Pastor Manu immediately rushed out of the flying carpet and came to her. Pastor Manu slowly knelt on one knee in front of her, his hands trembling. I never thought I would have the chance to meet you in my lifetime. Chapter 500 Situation on the Moon. The priest Manu helped her up with shaking hands. Keiko, how is your body? And why are you here? She sat up slowly with Manu's support. Since I signed the contract with Kingdomer, my soul has been captured. From then on, I changed my name to Medusa, and have been following Kingdomer as a demon, to prepare for the return of the demons. What? You are Medusa? The children in the back were all shocked to hear this fact. They didn't expect that the big demon chasing them was actually Miyako's mother. Yes, I'm sorry that I did such an excessive thing to you in this world. Keiko stretched out her only remaining hand and tried to touch the hand of the priest Manu. I know, Keiko. But how did you turn back to your original appearance? This should be impossible. Who can cancel your contract? Keiko stretched out her finger and pointed to the crystal layer not far away. A boy's body was sealed in the crystal. Nobita and the others looked at the place where Keiko pointed and were shocked again. Izuki? Why did he appear here again? What happened before? At this time, Izuka's soul power was close to nothingness, and his body's vitality had disappeared. He was in his last moments. Doraemon and his companions immediately rushed over, took out the piercing ring, and planned to take Izuka's body out of the crystal layer. No, don't. Keiko tried her best to stop them. If you do that, he will die. What? Can't he die if he is sealed in the crystal? Although they didn't know why, those people still stopped what they were doing. In order to release the contract for me, he entered my soul world and fought with the Demon King and finally won a miserable victory. After finally recovering some strength, Keiko stood up. When he was about to fall asleep, he told me that there was something wrong with his body and soul, and he was waiting for a person named Yu and Eiji to come back to deal with it. Then she began to examine the people here. Where is the child named Yu and Eiji? Where is he now? When this question was mentioned, everyone present chose to remain silent. Yu and Eiji had not appeared for a long time and was likely dead. Since he said he was going to fight the Demon King, no one has seen him since. This is the only possibility they can think of. Nobita suddenly snapped his fingers. By the way, Doraemon, you can wrap him with the time-sharing scarf. Yes, why didn't I think of that? Doraemon took out her scarf and covered the crystal layer above Dekisugi. But after waiting for a few minutes, there was no change here, which made them a little anxious. What's going on, Doraemon? Why doesn't the time-sharing scarf react at all? Is your prop broken? Anxiously, Nobita picked up the scarf, and the crystal layer was still intact. Doraemon casually took out a small wooden stick from her pocket, broke the stick, and covered it with the time-sharing scarf. After a few seconds, she opened the scarf, and the wooden stick inside became intact again. After confirming the situation, Doraemon shook her head and said, it shouldn't be the props. It may be that it didn't directly wrap around Dekisugi's body, so this situation occurred. After saying that, Doraemon put the wooden stick back into her pocket, and then took out the piercing ring, still intending to take out Dekisugi's body. No. Now these magic crystals are maintaining the last vitality of his body. If you take them out, he will die immediately. Hearing this, Doraemon stopped moving again, because she thought there might be other ways to deal with this matter. If it is true as Dekisugi said, Yu and Eiji has a way to rescue Dekisugi, then she'd better not do it. Although the time wrapping towel can theoretically reverse time and bring the dead back to life, the problem is that no experiment has been done, so this matter is uncertain. In the future, the time wrapping towel will be regarded as one of the banned props on par with the telephone booth. One of the reasons is because of its possibility of human body experimentation, and of course, it also blocks some people's money. Because someone had tried to use this thing to stay young forever, this item has been banned by countries around the world, but there is no record of anyone trying to reverse life and death. At least she doesn't know. So without doing any experiments, Doraemon doesn't dare to joke with a person's life. If there is a better way, then she is willing to wait and see. And as a high-end childlike robot, their professional ethics doomed them to not take risks with human lives, and they would choose the safest method. If Yu and Daisy can't handle it, then it's okay to use a time wrapping towel. Anyway, it's just a matter of wrapping for a while. Then let's put him here first. I believe Yu and Daisy will definitely find a way to rescue Zyashin. After discussion, everyone decided to respect Dekisugi's opinion. They all knew that Dekisugi was definitely more mature and stable than them. The full moon priest let her go. Jahuzi, you rest here for now, and leave the rest to us. Yes. Jahuzi held Miyako's hand with her only remaining hand. You must defeat the devil and come back alive. Everyone sat on the magic carpet again, intending to use their power to snipe the army of the demon world. At this moment, Jahuzi suddenly stopped them. Wait a minute, I have one more thing. When I was a demon in the demon world, I read many scrolls, so I knew one thing. The heart of the devil is the moon in the sky. What? The people who learned this heavy news were shocked again. No wonder their previous silver darts had no effect on the devil. Although they knew this important information, they did not feel happy at all, because all the silver darts on them were used up. Now the 6 of them did not have a silver dart in their hands, and Yu and as his life and death were unknown. It was estimated that it was unlikely to get a silver dart from him. However, everyone still forced a smile to comfort Kiko. We know, don't worry, we will definitely return victorious. After explaining everything, Kiko watched them leave the moon and then fell into a coma again. Before, her soul was used as the main battlefield by the 2 terrifying beings, Demoshin and Demowang. Now the injuries on her soul are very terrible. It is a miracle that she can wake up at this time. The good news is that, although the injuries are serious, they are not life-threatening, and she only needs a long time of recuperation. Just over half an hour later, the Demon Star and the Demon King appeared in front of them, followed by an endless army of the demon world. The Demon King was in a bad mood at this time. Not only did he not have dinner, but he was forced to go to war at this time. Moreover, Medusa, who was sent to complete the mission, also failed. Not only did she fail to complete her mission, but the soul contract she left on her was also violently torn up by a child. Are children so exaggerated during this period? In addition to her own heart, the moon of the Demon Star was also beaten into potholes by someone, and she was killed once by a person who claimed to be a god. Later, he would have to use the Demon World Star to attack the moon, which would have a much greater impact than a direct invasion. The demon world would also suffer heavy casualties, and might not even win. The reason why they were unwilling to attack while the moon was still there was that they did not want to sacrifice the lives of 70% of the demons on the Demon World Star for a few slaves. Although he actually did not care about these casualties, they were just some small scums and had no value. But with so many demons dead, even if he won the war in the end, he would have a lot more trouble to rule the human race at that time. In short, since the arrival of those hateful humans, nothing good has happened to him. The Demon King said that he was very irritable and needed to vent urgently. Seeing that those guys dared to appear in front of him, the Demon King was very unhappy. Listen to me, everyone, tear these people into pieces. Yes, the Dragon Knights behind rushed up, and the endless dragon breath and lightning aimed at the people on the magic carpet, wanting to beat them to ashes on the spot. Nobita and his friends were holding air cannons, enhanced shotguns, dodge cloaks and other items, which seemed a bit thin in comparison. What should we do, Doraemon? Our weapons seem too weak. Is there anything good? Doraemon thought about it, and suddenly an idea flashed in his mind. Oh, sister, we still have that thing we can use. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.